Groom appreciates your recommendation.
It's in the fridge that doesn't have the body part stored in it.
And the future chat.
hard cut to the music because I can't be bothered scrolling that volume bar down. How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the Rogue Room. I am your host, the Abigail Beck, the one and only. Are there any sex toys in the background? Because we've been trolled with that before. I don't have any, like, well, that's one sex toy, but that's not the one.
Just me.
Anyway. Some people have come in saying, oh my god, is that the Great American Challenge in the background? It's like, no, I keep that in the wardrobe. I make sure that one's tightly packed away. Anyway, you know, you gotta have to, oh, okay, Dread, hi, just welcome in. Hello.
Welcome.
Abigail, aren't you a sex toy? Probably. Yeah, kinda. How's it going, folks? Welcome into the Rogue Room. Oosh, there's some muscle for you. Hello, Dread. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. We just got started. She's like flexing her whole ass to me, and it's like
I'm not. I'm wearing clothes.
She's wearing clothes, but she's like literally showing off the benefits of HRT.
I'm just standing here.
If you're a trans femme. Seriously, do we have any trans femmes in chat who've been on HRT for a while? Who've got serious booty gains? Going to bed but have fun streaming Radio Dread. Have a good time getting some rest as well you should. Thank you everybody for what's that? Piece of rubbish. You're going to throw a piece of rubbish at me? Anyway, you got gains. I don't think gains are the desired effect of HRT, are they? I mean, maybe if you're a trans man on test, you know. Test, brah. I still call it test, even though I know it's like TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. Thank you for the head pats, Uwu. I'm wearing like little jingly jangly chains. Here's the thing, this whole outfit, except for the choker and the skirt, a trip. Smudge is loafing right behind me. There we go. I get head pats from the goof. From the goof, Uwu. Oh, fuck no, I fucked my hair up. There we go. That works. Trip NYC is what I'm wearing, except for the skirt, but you can't tell because it's a cheap Sheen knockoff.
Looks the same.
It looks the same. I do want the actual skirt, though. The skirt's cool.
Smudge.
Are you serious, dude?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Oh.
He's been a little asshole. I did do a flex. I started out with a flex. There we go. I saw it. I redeemed it.
Another one.
Well, okay, because she's my girlfriend. There you go.
Oh,
okay. Like, look, I will say that being on HRT for like a significant period of time, like a year, roughly. Just over a year. Here's a fun fact that we didn't really celebrate. Ah, okay. Where's the hair in my face? Can I have the mirror? I think I got it. Okay. No, I can't feel it. Princess redeemed hugs. I'm trying to be on a ramble about something. We will talk. I have hugs now.
You can.
Okay, fine. Don't you dare steal my chair again, you little shit. And I'm trying not to stab.
I haven't fixed my face yet.
Okay. You go fix your face. Whatever that means. Anyway.
Also, yeah. Oops.
Oops.
Chat, do I need to put a bra on?
Must be going blind. I mean, I can just do this. Look. Oof. There we go. My biceps have grown a bit, maybe. I feel like either my fat density around my arms has gone down a bit, or my, yeah, maybe I've gained some muscle. It's hard to say. I haven't really been doing a gaining diet, though. Should I change the lights back? What am I going to go to Melbourne for? I got mates. I'm one of those weird people who has friends. Shockingly. That sounds mean. But here's the thing, is like a lot of my friends are generally online. So I'm going to go hang out with my online friends offline in the real world, which is a strange and scary concept to me. How long until this is a co-op stream? Well, here's the thing, I did recommend to her. We got something cute and fun.
We're not doing a stream.
We're not doing a stream. She doesn't want to do a stream of it.
Us.
It is just for us. But maybe one day we can get another thing.
Maybe.
I'm just going to say, can I say what it is?
It's a toy.
It's a toy. It's a toy that we wanted to put to... Well, we both want to put it together. Can you get rid of that for me?
You do the toy.
Can I just say it's a Lego set? It's a
set.
Lego set. We're going to do a Lego set together, which is really super fun and cute and stuff. And I recommended we do it as a stream because I thought it'd be cute and fun. But she doesn't want... We'll do it. We'll do that one on our own time, and then we'll get another set soon, and we'll do...
Hello, Ultra. Guests. Welcome.
Oh,
friends.
God, NBSP has posted Uwu Manifesto of the Communist Party. Ultra, thank you for the raid. We just turned the raid lights off. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say something right now. And we got more raiders. Ackles Prime as well. Welcome in, everybody.
Friends.
Yeah, we bought a Lego set. A cool Lego set. Like, it's awesome. It's pretty fucking cool. Okay.
Not massive.
It's not Harry Potter. Harry Potter can go fuck itself. If you buy like the Hogwarts castle, we're not friends. I don't like you.
If
Anyway.
you buy it secondhand, it's okay.
If you buy
We will tolerate
Well,
it.
we'll tolerate second hand, but still, there's standards that need to be met here with regards to one's character. Chaos, bring the chaos in. Hello, hello, hello. The Woolies Lego. Oh yeah, have you seen the Woolies Lego? I don't think it's official Lego, but there is actually
It's
like.
not. It's not.
Oh no, I closed that. Whatever that was. Hang on. Let me just. I need to show you this. Okay. There is a Woolworths bricks thing.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Woolworths Bricks Deluxe Kit thing, right? Like, can I get a bigger picture of this? No? This is it? Okay, just give me a second so I can make sure I am not being doxxed. Say your delivery address? No, okay.
Right click open image in new tab.
You can't, it's got one of these things.
Yeah.
No. It's alright, I'll show you this. I'll show you this. For anyone who's Australian. Hello, Lugilia. Hello, Aklos. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. We still got our flashy raid lights going. So this will all calm down in a minute. But, like, have a look at this.
Just don't click any buttons while you're
Yeah. The Woolworths released this thing. I don't know if I don't think they're still available, but you can build a little Woolworths. I guess it's an entryway. That's all it is.
They had a Bunnings one.
They did. Yeah, they did a Bunnings one. Bunnings has done them because
Thank
is
you
Bunnings
for
associated?
continuing
Oh,
your
Asto.
membership.
Yeah.
Pogu.
Pogu. It's empty though. Yeah, it's just literally like this is it. And I don't know why the picture is so small. It's tiny, but you got this little zoom in thing. That's all it is. I thought it'd be more than that. Can't even be good capitalists and sell stuff that's complete. This is an unfinished Lego set. We have that here, but it's called Countdown Bricks in New Zealand. Yeah, have you heard about this? Woolworths is called Countdown in New Zealand. Is it the same Woolies brands in South Africa? It may be. I'm not certain, honestly. To be fair, it might still be Safeway. True, there's Safeway around. One day Abby will follow me and I will be complete. Isn't this just ads toys for... Yeah, pretty much, yes. Like, I mean, I've been seeing... And, like, this is the thing. A lot of people... Yeah, so Woolworths is a grocery store chain in New Zealand. They're called Countdown. I don't know about any other places.
And they had this little scanner.
Yeah, they had a little scanner set. But, like, here's the thing, right? There's a cute thing that Woolworths is doing now. A similar kind of deal, except it's like a little... shop front set for kids, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is designed for toddlers to play shopkeeper, and it's like, on the one hand, it's adorable. It's like, ha ha ha, you're being a little shopkeeper. On the other hand, it's like, this is so grim.
Setting them up for a minimum wage job.
Yeah, right. I mean, we already know that like the primary school system and the high school system is designed to get you into minimum wage work so you can be a good little worker bee. But 3-year-olds. Do we need to be getting 3-year-olds into that shit? It's a bit, like... Anyway, it reminds you of JoJo's and... Jojo Mart. Yeah, Jojo Mart and Stardew, yeah. Okay, I get it. You've got great tits. Okay.
I'm just standing.
You're just standing there, pulling your shirt against your chest.
Yeah.
I am going to shame her to the world.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Lego. Oh, was it actually sponsored by Lego? Oh, really? Where does Creed's Greatest Hits album rank in your top 5? The entirety of my music listening habits are synthwave, so I have no fucking idea. Like, I literally worked out exclusively to Daniel Deluxe today. It was great. He's... Yeah. Don't say that, Jesus. There used to be official Lego McDonald's and Shell gas stations. How grim is that? I mean, it's hard to be surprised by this shit, but how grim is that? Did I say, by the way, Astoad, I meant to thank you properly. Thank you kindly for your tier 1, for your resub for 5 months. You fucking legend, you. Thank you so much. Isn't Creed racist? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked at this point. You tell me any band that started like 20 more years ago, or musician, or whatever, is racist, homophobic, transphobic, ableist, ageist, who fucking cares? I don't know. You know, I would not be shocked in the slightest, you know. What? Okay. Yeah, you remember the Shell stuff? That's particularly grim, honestly. I'm drinking Mother, yes. I should stop. I should quit, honestly. The Disney Macca's toys are great. Well, corporations working together to provide entertainment for the young ones. It's wonderful, isn't it? Okay. Let's do a content. Should we do a content? What kind of content do we have on the agenda for tonight? I don't know. I am drinking Mother, yes. So I am right now, as we speak, advertising to you a Coca-Cola branded beverage, which is weird to me. It is Coca-Cola Amatil Australia Proprietary Limited. Yes, it's an Australian brand, but it's owned by Coke.
Monster is just Monster.
Monster's just Monster. Monster might be PepsiCo actually. Let's look up corporations. Monster company owner, Coke. Monster's owned by Coke. Yeah, Monster Energy owns Coca-Cola. Is an American beverage company that manufactures energy drinks. Company was originally founded by Hanson's in 1935, originally selling juice products, renamed as Monster Beverage in 2012, then sold their Hanson's and juices and sodas and their other non-energy drink brands to the Coca-Cola Company in 2015. As of 2020, Monster held nearly 39% of the $5.7 billion US energy drink market, if you wanted that. So that sounds like it's not actually... Oh yeah, so hang on. The Coca-Cola Company bought a 16.7% stake for $2.15 billion in Monster Beverage Corp in 2015. Since grown to 19.3% due to share buybacks conducted by Monster Beverage Corp. So I guess they're not specifically owned by Coke, but like partially owned by Coke. And some of their other products are owned by Coca-Cola. Well, it says, yeah, I guess majority owner maybe. 19.3% is owned by the Coca-Cola Company. That's what Wikipedia says. There we go. We started out with like just what is this? What is this intro? I don't even know what this is. This is strange to me. Companies buying companies and whatnot. Welcome in. Welcome into the Rogue Room, an absolute mess of a place. I really should get into the habit of changing my Go Live notifications to something a little bit more exciting than the Rogue Room is live, which is awesome. Go watch it now. That doesn't tell you anything about what we're going to talk about tonight. But it is new week, new pain. Always new pain. I look awesome. Thank you, Kez. How are you, Kez? How's it going? I always look awesome. I do look awesome. Is this you? Click link. Let me know if you want that candle, by the way. Oh, I'm good. You keep candle. Hello, common enemy. Long time no. It's a Monday. I was just thinking about that song. It's like what was it like? I don't like Mondays. Who wrote that song? Who performed that song? Battling always looks awesome. Yes, I did get your 100% secret Discord message. Yes, indeed, I did, Kaz. Pain sounds about right, but yeah, it's like, you know, we generally treat the weekend, not the musician, but the actual weekend, Saturday, Sunday, as this ideal time of rest and relaxation, but surely I'm not the only one that doesn't actually get much in the way of rest and relaxation on the weekend, right? I mean, yesterday, for example, we went to a family member's birthday party, which was a 4-hour round trip generally, maybe even more so. And we spent like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at the actual event. So you can imagine spending that much time in the car to spend that much time socializing and then on the way back is exhausting. It is fucking exhausting. God, that fucking drive. Never again. Never again. Especially sitting on like the middle seat in the back of the car, which feels like you're riding on a rock. I don't know why the middle seat felt like I was riding on a rock. Are we there yet? Unironically. Is this version of Harry Potter acceptable? No version of Harry Potter is acceptable. Ever. An hour and a half of socializing. Oh yeah, I saw this. Let's have a gander. Let's have a geese, mate. I mean, we might as well. This is kind of funny, but it is Harry Potter content, so I already hate it. The dead version of Harry Potter. The version of Harry Potter where everybody's just harassing J.K. Rowling anytime she goes anywhere in public. Please do that, by the way. I don't think there are technically any laws about heckling somebody in public everywhere they go. So please, if you see Joanne Rowling anywhere, just heckle the shit out of her. Anyway, go on. Move on. The boy who wasn't unalived. Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive liked flexing that they were very basic, thank you. TBH, they were the last people you'd think would be sus because they were all fax, no printer. Mr. Dursley was adulting at a firm called Grunnings, which made drills. He was a dummy thick with 3 C's man with hardly any neck, although he had an absolute unit of a mustache. Can we talk about like the blatant fat phobia in Harry Potter, by the way? Like, Joanne specifically loved writing derogatory things about fat people. She really fucking loves it. And especially with the Dursleys, she would always... No, I know this isn't real, but this is just literally an interpretation of what was written. As someone who's read the original book, The Philosopher's Stone, she makes a lot of points about how fat Mr. Dursley is, and how fat... what's the kid's name? The Dursley kid. Fucking annoying shit. Anyway, she made... And there were other fat jokes in the books as well. Anyway, Dudley, that's it, yeah. Mrs. Dursley was a total Karen with 0 chill and had hella neck, which came in very useful for when she was stalking her neighbours and not minding her own. The Dursleys had a small son called Dudley. Oh, it's right there. I didn't read it. Who they thought was the main character. The Dursleys were mostly thriving, but they also had low-key tea, which didn't pass the vibe check, and their greatest fear was to get called out and cancelled. They were girl-bossing too close to the sun and didn't think they could. And thankfully there's no more of that shit, but you know. Accidentally bought the Gen Z / How Do You Do Fellow Kids dialect version of Philosopher's Stone and I'm dead. So is this a real thing? Has this been fully published? Has someone actually gone ahead and done this whole thing? The whole 4th book starts with how Dudley is so overweight he needs a diet, yeah. I need several. I need to get on the whiskey after that one, but I can hold off. You don't have alcohol, but still. Yeah, that was half a page, and I'm exhausted already. Exactly. I mean, on top of all the other flagrantly awful shit in that book, let's build a Lego set drunk and see how far we get. Let's do it. Let's put Joanne against Lord of the Rings. We started this last week. We did the thing, and then we got into Lovecraft. We started last week talking about how like there is some level of racism in Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's writings and all that kind of thing. Then we got on to Lovecraft, who is quite possibly the most racist author to have ever existed in any timeline. I genuinely hate that he had some good ideas that were just founded upon how much of a racist cunt he was. That kind of sucks, you know? At least he didn't do anything with the racism, though. You know, aside from being an asshole, he didn't actually do anything. It has an audiobook. Oh, God, I am not... No. Never, ever. Never, ever, ever. There is an AI-generated Harry Potter thing. Oh, God. Please, no. He was so scared of the other. Yeah, pretty much. Like, I think the video that we watched really highlighted how paranoid H.P. Lovecraft was as a person about anything different to himself, anything different to his own circumstances, right? And as a result, he manifested that in his writings, which led to some good ideas. However, you can't sort of look at the one without the other, if that makes sense. Yeah, I know about his cat, definitely. Definitely. Hello, Vardine, how's it going? Oh, goodness me. Oh, God, his cat. His cat. Jesus. Pretty, Abby. Thank you. I try to be pretty. Potter game best adaptation where the villain is Graham Linehan. There is something about Graham Linehan that I wanted to look at. There was a thread I think I bookmarked on Twitter. H.P. Hewlett Packard Lovecraft. I don't care what his actual name was. He's Hewlett Packard Lovecraft. I got chains. Look, I got autism. I got autism triggers. It's great. Yeah, there's a whole, I'm allowed to make those jokes because I am actually autistic. I got little stim chains. So there's a whole thread of Glinner here that I want to go over from Joss Pryor. Joss Pryor is pretty based, and we'll look through those. Hit points Lovecraft. Horsepower Lovecraft. You know, there's a number of them. Should see what your cat did to your hand last night. Oh, no. I know what your cat did to your hand. I don't even need to see it. I don't even need to see it. I know what your cat did. I know what cats do. Cats are bastards. I have one. And he keeps trying to fuck the plush panda that my girlfriend and I just bought for my son. Literally, let me show you a photo, if I may. Let me see if I've got it. Very quickly. I should have it. Sadly, this is weird. My my Google Photos. Let me open this in a new tab so there's no identifying information. Here is my cat stealing off with my son's toy panda to go and defile it. And he has a habit of taking it under my desk. It's the name of the AI. Just hang on. Harry Potter and the Portrait of What Looked Like a Large Pile of Ash. AI generate a book. You think there's one chapter? I should see what your friend did to you. What did your friend do to you? Goodness. But Smudge is lonely. Reminder, every living animal on Earth has one hit point. All you got to do is hit in the right spot and they're gone. You win. Give him a nice king hit. That'll end him. That's how you win every boss fight. That's a bad joke. Do not tell anyone I said that. Anyway, at least Smudge knows his own kind. Oh yeah. We're not gonna talk about that in detail though. Goodness. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. I had an interaction on the Bird app today, which was really weird. Let me see if I can find it. They might have blocked me at this point. I don't know. Or I might have blocked them. Where is it? Oh, it's probably like all the way back through. I want to see if I can find this weird, super fucking weird take. Hang on. I know it's like, I know these people are trolls. I know these are absolute troglodytes. So we can't take anything they're saying seriously. But they went on this whole tangent, right? This person said this, right? And it's clear they're just trying to troll, right? But they said, I was assigned female at birth, but I identify with the identity of a transgender woman. I don't identify as a cisgender woman. Since trans women can have any genitals and don't owe you surgery, and since sex is an artificial construct, how am I not an AFAB trans woman? And it's like, okay, so first of all, like, trans women are not identifying as transgender women. It's such a... This is how they always try to frame this, as though we are sort of making up the language as we go along and just saying we're this, saying we're that. You can't prove that I'm not this, and yada, yada, yada. And Lisa Mullen has got the perfect summary of the whole thing here. Is like, trans women have the same gender identity as cis women. We're just women, right? That's it. That's the end of the discussion. But yeah, so like, are you saying I was assigned female at birth, but I identify with the identity of a trans woman? I don't identify as a cis woman. That makes no sense. But the thing is, if you were to call them out on that, and I did, or someone did actually, I don't think I did. At this point, I sort of checked out of the conversation and just said, your friend speaks gibberish, because somebody else tagged that person in. And of course, they came into the thread. It's just a completely nonsensical attempt to try to catch trans people out, right? So let me see if I can find exactly what they so here we go. They get to a point. They get to a point where they circle around, they dance around the whole topic, and they go, so you agree females exist and no trans women are females? So like, they're just trying to catch you on this idea of like, if we say you as a cis woman can't identify as a trans woman because that's not how any of this works, they'll say, so the whole idea of like, you can't identify as a woman thing either. It's like, it's a messy set of circumstances where they refuse to clarify, like they refuse to understand, the nuance of the discussion around what trans is, what being trans is. Trans just literally means different to, which when you put it in front of like something like man or woman, it's a bit confusing. But quite frankly, the reason we call ourselves I call myself a trans space woman, or a trans man will call themselves trans space man. You gotta remember, it's like Spider-Man, except it's not the hyphen, it's a space, you know? Different gender. Yeah, exactly. So the gender that I was assigned at birth, the role I was assigned at birth, essentially, the gender role, the gender presentation, the identity I was given when I started out this whole life shindig is different to the one that I actually am. Right? Trans space, yeah. You got to remember the trans space. Respect the space, except with Spider-Man, it's respect the hyphen. Who's keen for Into the Spider-Verse too, by the way? Hell yes. And I got to play Spider-Man Miles Morales now that I've got a PS5. Hell yeah, I do. Does having a penis matter? Not for gender. No. Well, I mean, it genuinely doesn't. Because your gender is not your genitals. Which is a weird thing to get fussed about. I have a PS5. Yes, I managed to score one. Can you even believe it? Can you believe it? Can you imagine it? I actually got a PS5. Well, me and Maddie got a PS5. We split it. We started following a bunch of accounts that would post alerts of when certain stores would be getting stock or getting pre-orders. So yeah, the gender is the agenda. What is gender? What do you mean? What do you mean, what is gender? Gender is when your dad is grumpy. Oh yeah, PS5 is ridiculously hard to find in Australia. Bitches be fighting for Spider-Man movie tickets. Pardon? No. Here's the thing. Gender is identity and presentation and like how you are to the world. Are you masculine? Are you feminine? Not even that really. Like gender is confusing and weird at the best of times. Sex is what I have with your mother. Pardon? Yeah, this is what's weird. It's like gender is effectively a part of your identity in the same way that if this is maybe not the best example, but if you were Scottish, you might consider that you being Scottish is a part of your identity. And the reason I say it's a bad example is because there's so many toughs in fucking Scotland. Jesus Christ. Gender is the attraction or repulsion to team sports. Thought you said penis when you said PS5, and I was about to say they were sold out when I went to get mine. I wish they were sold out of penises when I got mine. Goddamn. Oh, sorry. There's no penises available for this kid. Are you serious again? He went to grab the fucking panda again.
I know. It was
Fucking hell. We're gonna have to wash that thing.
His Belgian.
Somebody please tell my third child to stop fucking the plushies.
I mean,
Look.
It kind of looks like him, so maybe.
This is a victim of sexual assault. Okay. Panda love is real. How do we even get the spray bottle out? I do have a spray bottle. I don't. Feel the pain of this guy. What's he said? Oh yeah, this thing. Full Tim Pool at the age of 23. Let's have a look at this. Just keep it away from him somehow. Put it in the kids' room and like close the door. Cause he's just ew. You can't tell me who to love, Mom. Kind of sounds like there's a cat in heat near Smudge if he's getting this antsy and changing. Yeah, there was a cat next door. We saw a cat next door today, and it seems like that is getting on his nerves. So he's having issues at the moment. But yeah, we've just sort of been rambling, haven't we? We haven't really covered anything. But yeah, like of course, the moment we start talking about gender, somebody comes in questioning what gender is. Gender is very confusing. Gender is very weird. But, you know, the most basic way you can distill it down. Yeah, it's a sea lion. It's probably a sea lion. You know. The most basic way you can distill gender down is like, you know what a man's like. You know what a woman's like. Right? So, the way that a man is, behaves, presents, that's what being a man is about. That's what the gender of being a man is about. The nuance. Yes, there's nuance to the discussion. The way that you generally... And yeah, I know this is stereotypes, you know. And not everybody fits those stereotypes. But generally speaking, you also have an idea of what a woman is. You know what a woman is, you know what a man is. I'm a woman, and there are men. I'm not a man. I'm a woman. I'm a women. Right? And then you've got NBs who, you know, honestly... NB presentation is entirely up to them. I do not have any explicit interaction with, like, non-binary gender presentation.
Gender is weird, because if we were in a society where there were no stereotypes attached to anything, gender wouldn't really exist.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Or at least it wouldn't exist in the way it does today.
Can you folks hear Maddie? Like, Maddie's got... Seriously, you are way more intelligent than me. Why aren't you streaming? Honest. Society, yeah, just post society memes in chat. Society. So basically, yeah, like, it's all stereotypes, and which is kind of co-op stream time. It's hilarious when people try to call anyone out who is
Reinforcing.
not reinforcing stereotypes, but like when turfy types tend to call us out for just asserting this is how gender works. And they'll say, oh, but you're just stereotyping everything and ruining society with your gender stereotypes. Oh my God, you're sexist or something. I don't know. And it's like, it's literally just observation. It's sociology, and sociology is a science based on observation. That's all it is.
Meanwhile, look at all the turfs looking exactly the same.
Meanwhile, look at all the turfs looking exactly the same, she said. Zara, time to stream. Sarah, I don't know how you say. Yeah, she's an affiliate. She could stream if she wants. Anyway. We're stuck on gender again. We have to get stuck on gender. We're at 69 viewers. Fucking nice. Can we get some fucking nice in chat? Well, we can't get any fucking in chat. We're gonna get a nice going. Can we get some nice in chat? For 69 viewers, nice.
Fucking happens elsewhere.
Fucking happen elsewhere. Isn't all science based on observation? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, this is the thing. This is the tricky part. This is where we get into some of the nuance around sociology, I suppose. Because there are scientific texts out there that are based on observation, whatever the fuck was published by Ray Blanchard, for example. But it was also published through a specific lens that is not scientifically backed up. So what Ray Blanchard published about trans women, which is super fucking weird, is not like peer reviewed, right? The whole AGP thing is not peer reviewed. It's generally scientific bunk. But because it was published by a doctor who is supposed to have any sort of like credentials, credibility, right? Oh, look, this guy's got a PhD after his name. He knows what he's talking about. The way science works is that if you have an idea, if you have a theory, you test that theory. No, if you have a hypothesis, you test that hypothesis. It becomes theory. It becomes peer-reviewed, and that gives it credence. Right? AGP is just trans women who didn't want to fuck him. And the problem is, if anyone has a PhD, and we've talked about like one of the perils of academia, is that if you have people who've gone through to get their doctorate and all of that, they reach a certain point where, and it's not every academic, don't get me wrong, it's not every academic that has this problem, but there seems to be a lot of doctors who will reach a certain point in their career, whether they are medical doctors or whether they are experts in a certain field or what have you, where they simply refuse to admit they're wrong. And it seems to be happening a lot with these cult of personality doctors like Jordan Peterson, you know, where they don't change their minds about anything. They've got a certain idea, and rather than wanting to learn more and rather than wanting to be a part of the study and the furthering of the science, they would like things to stay exactly as they are and not move anything forward, you know. Gender expression is how you dress. Gender identity, literally just neurological development, can influence gender expression but doesn't have to. Yes, exactly. So it's like, if we come back to the gender thing, you can, hello Vamps, how you going? You can be a woman who dresses masculine, completely short hair, male clothes, even speaking in like a more male tone or whatever you, and still identify as a woman, still be a woman. And no one is saying you can't be that. But there are people who are opposed to the existence of trans people who think that we are trying to convert butch lesbians into trans men, which is just not happening. Trans men are discovering they are trans men and seeking treatment to transition, right? Trans men and butch lesbians are two different things. You know, trans women and effeminate men are two different things. And that's the nuance of the discussion. One of your MDs fucked you over with Botox. How so? How'd that happen? Yes. What? Oh, yeah, the Australian comedian that caught Jordan Peterson. Do you remember who it was? Aussie comedian. I know exactly who you're talking about. Jim Jeffries. Jim Jeffries, yes. That was fucking great. What's up?
I was going to say, and there's a difference between butch lesbians and butch heterosexual women, which I find a lot of people don't know. Well,
oh, yeah, true. Butch lesbians and butch hetero women butch het women do exist. You know, which is a weird thing. And, no, it's a weird thing that people don't consider that butch het women exist. Yeah. So like, I'm reminded of like anytime that there's a pretty common tactic used by turfy people, who, what they try to do is they try to assert that trans people are gay people that are transitioning to become straight, which is a legitimate thing in like Iran, right? We've talked about this before. That over in Iran, if you are found to be gay, one of the I guess legal obligations is to transition, so you technically become straight. I don't know how often that happens, but that's not how this works, right? Like over here in the West, excuse me, like that's not how this works. We transition because the way that we have been assigned our gender at birth, like the role in society that we have been given doesn't feel right for us. So we transition to be more in line with how we feel internally. The West, I don't know. How do we define this society? It's honestly kind of exclusionary, but you know. I'm a trans masc who was a butch lesbian before I came out, and I only ever was actively discouraged from being non-binary and transitioning. That shit isn't even true yet. It's a whole mess of... It's honestly, yeah, Anglo-American, I suppose would be a good way to phrase it. Like, I'm not American, but it's easy to see how certain societies, the Anglosphere might be a good way to look at it. There are certain societies where, generally speaking, queer people are more tolerated. Not necessarily treated the best, but still tolerated, accepted. First world citizens, but I feel like first world is still very dismissive. Because that's kind of it's a supremacy hierarchy, isn't it? You say, okay, we live over in the first world, those people over in those countries live in the third world or whatever, or the second world. Is there a second world? I've heard first world and third world as terms. And the thing is, you know, you can even just anecdotally, and I think a lot of trans people can anecdotally disprove that whole idea of like, you know, an effeminate man doesn't have to become a trans woman. Have you seen me pre-transition? I was not an effeminate man by any stretch of the imagination. I was a pretty hyper-masculine dude. Right? I was a guy, or I was trying to be. It was incredibly uncomfortable. But in my pursuit of trying to self-understand, I spent a significant length of time in a masculine shell. So, you know. First world is US/NATO aligned. Second world was Soviet. Third world was non-aligned. Oh, I see. Where the white people live aside from Russia. Yeah, that's why I feel like it's good. It's like that terminology of like first world and the developed world and all that tends to have a pretty racist overtone. Oats. I do like oats. I haven't had oats in a bit. Russia is a different planet though. You see shit out of Russia and you're like, are they okay over there? Kay tried to be with the gym but didn't quite work despite being ripped to heck. You wouldn't want to get ripped to heck. That sounds painful. Goodness. Anyway, Russia / a lot of Europe, to be honest. Pretty much. Are they okay over there? No. Can't really walk on your right side of your body, so you went to get Botox done since you were 15 years old. Been getting it done on both your arm and leg. What does the Botox do in that regard? I'm curious. Getting it done in your arm, it threw your body off and was causing more issues. Your doctor put more Botox into your leg and it caused your ankle to break down for a good while. That does... Yeah, I mean, Botox is not good. Let's just Google Botox is dangerous. This is interesting. Like, we put very, very, very tiny bits of... Well, I don't use Botox, but, you know. People use Botox generally as a plastic surgery kind... Not plastic surgery, but, you know. They use it to improve their appearance. It's an injectable drug made from botulinum toxin type A. This toxin is produced by the bacterium Clostridium botulinum. Although this is the same toxin that causes botulism, a life-threatening form of food poisoning, its effects vary according to the amount and type of exposure. For example, Botox is only injected in small targeted doses. And migraine symptom relief, yeah. So when injected, Botox signals from your nerves to your muscles. This prevents the targeted muscles from contracting, which can ease certain muscular conditions and improve the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. So anyway, is Botox safe? Although botulinum toxin is life-threatening. Yeah, the poison is in the dose, exactly. Like if you take a small amount of morphine, it's a painkiller. If you take a lot of morphine, goodbye. Basically, that's how it works. Like those used in the application of Botox are considered safe. In fact, only 36 cases of adverse effects associated with cosmetic use were reported to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration between 1989 and 2003. 13 of these cases may have had more to do with an underlying condition than the drug itself. Yeah, caffeine is life-threatening. There's a reason like the recommended dose of caffeine is like 400 milligrams a day max. You know, you should cap out at 400 milligrams of caffeine a day if you have that much at all, and you probably shouldn't. You know, that's still way too much. But don't panic. What are we not panicking about? NASA says huge, potentially hazardous asteroid will break into Earth's orbit next week. Oh, thank fuck. Caffeine equals palpitations. Yeah, I went to the hospital once with palpitations, like serious palpitations that were like causing me to feel enough panic that I had to go to the hospital, actually. I don't know if it was caffeine related necessarily, but I certainly ended up in hospital doing all manner of tests, and they didn't discover anything. Too much caffeine causes you panic attacks, but you can handle them. But yeah, you shouldn't need to, though, is the thing. Once drank like 1,200 worth at once, did not go pleasantly, yeah. I remember one time, some people I was associated with, but not friends. I wouldn't consider them friends. Just people that were near me in social standing. I remember they bought a whole case of like knockoff Red Bull from Aldi. It was like, I think 18 cans, right? Between the three of them. Which is quite a lot. Like 6 cans each, and they were doing like Jaeger bombs and stuff like that. Which, you know, whatever, if you want. I haven't had caffeine since 2009. Good, honestly. Hate to think what that shit would do to you now. Well, I mean, yeah, like with, there's a number of things that do this. But if you break the cycle of consuming it, then you break the effect it has on your body, essentially. Like, you break the addiction. So when you come back to it, it'll have a much more significant effect, which is worrying. I wouldn't recommend that. Because I did take a break from energy drinks for a while when I came back to them, which I really shouldn't have, honestly. These are a burden, both on my wallet and on my health. But, you know, I have issues. Get over it. I did notice, you know, the first few times I got back into them, they were very intense. Last time you saw one of these asteroid scare stories, the object passed outside the orbit of the moon. Yeah, which is, you know, fair, you know. More concerned about the super volcano in Yellowstone than I am about a fucking asteroid from space. Never drink coffee or never drink water. I want to see what chat says. What do you want to do, folks? This is a pretty stock standard response. Like, we can expect what everybody's going to say, but we'll do it anyway. Media always makes it seem more serious because clicks equal profit. Yes, exactly. The media loves panic. People love panic. People love to be freaking out over something, like to be angry about something. Caffeine addicted ass sweats nervously. Never drink coffee or water. Who's going to be never drinking water? Who is going to be dehydrated? Don't dehydrate yourselves. Hydrate, you losers. Often the reason why people OD with some drugs. Yeah, exactly. You know, it reminds me of, like, there was a case of a guy who used to drink. Well, there we go. There was a guy who was like really old, used to drink every day, right? I don't remember where I read this story, but he used to drink every single day, like whiskey or something, or wine or whatever. And he got to the point in his life where his family couldn't really take care of him anymore, so they put him in a home. And one of the first things they did was cut off his alcohol, right? They cut off his access to alcohol, which is not the exact same thing, but within a week he died, right? Because his body had become adjusted to consuming that and cutting it off completely. Like, there are some things you shouldn't do cold turkey because they can actually have a much more significant inverse effect. And when his body did not have its regularly scheduled alcohol, it went into shock and he sadly passed away. He was like old though, like he was definitely on his way out to begin with. Yeah, withdrawal symptoms would kill you at that age, which is kind of honestly surprising to me. Like, my grandfather was drinking his entire life, and in the past few years he just sort of stopped. He used to brew his own beer and stuff. He stopped doing it, and it hasn't had any adverse effects apparently, so that's good. Sigma octrillionaire grind set. Excuse me. Don't drink beverages. Reabsorb sweat to prove that you're the ultimate man. Absolute Sigma shit. Coffee is highly dehydrating. It can be, certainly. And yeah, that's why bottle shops were open during lockdown, yeah. Mum stopped smoking and developed Bell's palsy. Yeah, unfortunately, the things that we damage ourselves with, it's kind of like a... What's the phrase I'm looking for? Chat is more hydro homies than coffee drinkers. Yeah, yay hydro homies. I was literally just referring to that subreddit, or its predecessor earlier, to the GF. Mentioning how there used to be a subreddit called Water N-Words. And eventually, during a cull of like offensive subreddits, Reddit had to get rid of that one. I think that was the case. They weren't an offensive subreddit. They were literally just posting memes about drinking water. And eventually they rebranded into Hydro Homies and kept going. So kudos to them. Also, this is not related to anything, but I do need to show you this cat that I got today. Also thank the GF for that. What? Oh my god, this fucking horny cat. Are you serious? Jesus. The cat's fucking the blahage. For the record, we got 2 of these sharks. Cat's going and fucking the other one. Water N-Words, the ultimate name. Well, you can imagine it wasn't N-Words. Anyway. Smudge is already fixed. I don't know why he's so horny. Yeah, he's got a higher sex drive than Maddie does. Enforce a pack nearly every year, and we have literally a meme saying, Hail Hydrate. Not the blahage. Not the blue shark. Turf Media pushed out a banger in the UK. A woman got mad when she changed in public and 2 men walked past. Do you have a link to the actual article, Shay? Because I saw screenshots of this. I haven't looked for the article myself. Maybe I should. Is it Daily Fail? I bet you it's Daily Fail. And I saw the screenshots and I'm like, this is so absurd. This is so ridiculous. Like, why is this person so mad that trans people exist when 2 men walk past and you're getting changed in public of your own volition? Dude, get out of here. Fucking loser shit. Let's talk about, like, if you've got that article, send it to me because we'll have a look at it. We could also take a, we do not slut shame. No, I'm sorry, I'm gonna kink shame my cat. I don't give a shit. Get banned, scrub. Anyways. There's some interesting Glinner clips here. Let's react to Glinner again. I want to do this because the last time I reacted to Glinner content, people got hella mad because I was reacting to Glinner content. So I'm gonna do it. I love people getting pissed off at this shit. You know, it gives me views, which I appreciate. Just get Smudge his own panda. We should. Okay, so Joss has posted this video, Glinner video, that shows the gender crits are infighting because they are winning. It stems from treatment towards Artie Morty, a gay man, and to a lesser extent, Debbie Hayton, a trans woman-ish. That's kind of mean. Here it is on way back so I don't get the traffic. Okay, so we'll bring that up. It's the Daily Hail, haha, get it, because they're Nazis. We'll look at that in a moment. Fun fact, the first word spoken in this game is Abigail. Aww. So anyway, because they're mostly alt-right Nazis, which he denies badly. But yeah, like, the Debbie Hayton is apparently like the only trans woman in the UK, I think she's in the UK, that UK media will consult on any kind of trans-related issue. And her views generally align with turfy viewpoints, which is kind of absurd. Wasn't Artie the one who started tweeting pro-patriarchy takes recently? I think maybe. But anyway, let's have a look at this clip.
It seems to me at the moment that we, the gender critical movement, are to...
The gender critical movement. That sounds so desperate. This fucker is wasting his life on his dumb, hateful crusade against a minority. He really is. This guy needs a different hobby. Just please, Graham, get a different hobby. Not this one.
To some extent pushing at an open door. We're winning, in other words, in lots of different areas.
Please clarify which areas you're winning in, mate.
We're kind of pushing at an open door. And the result of that, you know, there's a kind of negative result to that, which is that the that certain resentments and rivalries and pain.
Microwave ready meal for 1 energy. Holy shit. It's true though, like, honestly, I don't, as far as I've heard, right, there's a funny meme going around that Graham Lennon, his marriage fell apart because he couldn't let the transphobia go, which is not actually the case. Apparently his wife is pretty transphobic too, so I don't think that was it. But honestly, Graham Lennon definitely reeks of that kind of man whose marriage fell apart, and as a result, the rest of his life fell apart. So he just found to it's Linehan, Linehan, right? But it's Lennon basically. But yeah, it really just sort of his whole thing. This man's whole thing just reeks of like, oh, my marriage fell apart. I'm going to basically have a midlife crisis of hating a minority publicly for some reason. And he reeks of desperation, honestly.
And all sorts of different things are rising to the surface, and are causing friction within the gender critical movement. And some of my dearest friends have been affected by this, and their names are Helen Staniland and Artie Morley. Because the thing about the gender critical movement is, as it grows, it gets wider and wider.
Excuse me.
And as it does so, we will encounter people with whom we disagree. We have to allow that to happen, because it's what gives this movement its strength. And
so basically what he's saying is like, we're finding people with whom we disagree, i.e. neo-Nazis, generally speaking, but they agree with us on the trans people should be in concentration camps thing. So he's saying we need to allow that to let our movement grow. We need to let in the Nazis.
It's what gives this movement its legitimacy.
Nazis give your movement legitimacy. Okay.
This huge...
yeah, Mallory, honestly, this man has a gift for saying a lot of words that don't mean anything, pretty much.
Range of people that come under the tent. No matter how many times they accuse us of being aligned with the far right, it is actually, shall we say, spectrum of people who extend from the centrist right to the far left.
The centrist right to the far left. I'm curious how he's defining those ideologies specifically.
Because this movement is obviously harmful to anyone who has a working brain.
To anyone who has a working brain. I can't post "Is this guy a fucking idiot?" as a poll. I don't think I can even post "Is this guy an idiot?" Let me try. Hang on. No, I can't. Hang on. Is this guy a dunce? There we go. Bet that Graham Lennon gets off to J.K. Rowling's tweets. I bet. And like, yeah, that very last bit at the end there, I want to come back and revisit that. He's like,
movement is obviously harmful to anyone who has a working brain.
So hang on. This bit.
Say spectrum of people who extend from the centrist right to the far left. Because this movement is obviously harmful to anyone who has a working brain.
So he's talking about trans people there. He's calling, and which is kind of funny because he doesn't directly address. I don't think he directly addresses trans people in there. And the only movement he refers to is the gender critical movement, which kind of makes, if you just like condense just those two clips, the gender critical movement is harmful to anyone with a working brain, which is, yeah, basically. But anyway, he's like the trans movement, right? I don't have socks on, I'm not showing feet. He originally referred to the gender crit movement, so yeah, not wrong technically. Is he trying to sound self-aware? You would think. But shockingly, he's not self-aware about anything. He's probably got an altar for JKR that he bows down to whenever he walks past it. So hang on, he went mask off. He admitted that his movement's harmful to anybody with a working movement with a working brain. You were checking the socks. No socks. It's too hot for socks. I'm wearing a skirt. But anyway, moving on. He's trying to accuse the trans community, generally speaking. And I don't know, like, I don't like using that term, trans community. I don't like to refer to all trans people as a singular group that all interact with each other and all know each other. Don't get me wrong, like online, the majority of my friends are trans. The majority of the people I interact with are transgender, right? Non-binary or just binary trans people or whatever, you know. We are trans, we are Legion, and that's legitimately, it's like they think we are some kind of a specific society-destroying anarchist social movement, and that being trans is a political ideology. And I'm like, there are literally trans people I've interacted with on numerous different platforms who have told me that they're trans and completely disagree with me on numerous things. And as cool as it is, as cool of an idea as it is that, you know, trans people are, like some kind of anarchist trying to tear down the very fabric of society because gender is inherently a harmful thing that categorizes people into one of two spaces, generally speaking, one of those spaces being specifically designed to be subservient to the other. The reality of the situation is that trans people are just people who happen to be of any number of genders, but broadly speaking, the two binary genders. And they have, I mean, honestly, like, he's just describing us as well, right? He's like, much like with most of the trans people I've met tend to be left-leaning, but there are trans people on the right as well. You got people like Blair White, Caitlyn Jenner, and other certain individuals who have different views on the world who just happen to be trans, right? Anyone can have any number of different views and things. And of course, there is the perspective that some trans people have, specifically leftist ones, where like, why would you align yourself with the right when quite clearly, quite categorically, if the right gains serious traction, trans people are going to be at risk. We're going to be like the top of that list, and you're sort of politically aligning yourself with them. It's kind of a questionable decision to make, but yeah, anyone can be trans, and it's not really, and this is what I mean when I say trans is not an ideology. It's strictly not an ideology. It is simply a factor of who you are as a person. In the same way, like, is tall an ideology? Is fat an ideology? Like, is being disabled an ideology? Those different perspectives, those different things that are a part of your person might affect your worldview a bit. If you're a tall person, you might be like a bit sick of people asking how the weather is up there, but generally speaking, being tall is just being tall. Being trans is just being trans. But people like Graham Lennon and those associated with him seem to believe there is some underground movement to trans all the kids and, destroy the very fabric of society, which is some incredible moralizing, honestly. Being tall is an ideology. Yeah, who's seen Tall Girl? Where, like, the biggest problem in this girl's life is that she wears size 13 men's Nikes, or whatever the fuck. Anyway, let's continue on. Glenna spends time explaining this quest is about clearing his reputation and making a living. Excuse me. Then says it's not. It's about women who can't access rape crisis centers. He can't keep his story straight for 2 minutes. Claims he, Artie, and Helen now have PTSD.
In it to defend my own reputation. I'm fighting for my reputation against a whole system that is determined to portray me as a bigot. From Pink News through to Wikipedia, through to Twitter, The Guardian, a great effort has been expended in framing my beliefs, so to speak, even though it's just reality.
Framing my beliefs, even though it's just reality. They love to throw this around, right? Yeah, Wikipedia, right? They love to throw this around that it's just reality. I love this. It's fucking hilarious because it's categorically not. Like, so many scientific bodies. What kind of terminology can I use there? There's so many people who have actual knowledge of this shit, who have actually studied this shit. I've glanced at it. I've got a bit of an idea. The science categorically doesn't agree with them. They are stuck in this 1970s biology textbook mindset that the reality just stopped happening after a certain point in time, and that gender is an ideology, and it's so ridiculous. It's like, my beliefs when they're actually just reality, but they're not. They're such fucking trolls, dude.
And activism.
Have a good one, Kez. My reality is gay. Sleep gay. He's turned it into a movement in and of itself just by the language. Pretty much, yes. Let's go back a second.
And activism in that way. So I'm not only in this for feminism or gay rights or to stop the medical abuse of children. I'm also...
That framing there, the medical abuse of children, that's categorical. I should stop using the phrase categorical. That is strictly fear-mongering, right? They are trying, honestly, and some people don't like this perspective, and I guess because they are trying to... They're trying to portray us, trans people, as you could argue pedophilic or something along these lines. When we say things like children have agency, children are able to make their own decisions. But what we, of course, mean there is with regards to their own transition or with regards to... And like this is also just absolutely ridiculous. Like when he goes on about the medicalization of children or whatever it is, medical abuse of children, I think he said. He genuinely believes, and other people aligned with him either do genuinely believe or are just feeding into the idea that trans children are being given hormone replacement therapy, are being given surgery, and they are using that technique, they are using that narrative to say that the trans movement is specifically medically harmful. No kid under the age of like 13 is going to be touching any kind of medication with regards to transition. More to the point, there are kids younger than age 13 or whatever who are given medication for any number of other medical reasons, and transitioning can be a medical issue. It's not fear-mongering. That would mean they were actually acting in good faith or cared about children. He's simply evil. Well, yeah, he's using children as a weapon against trans people because trans people care about trans kids, because we have been, like, a lot of trans people transition in adulthood because society doesn't like trans kids existing, right? So they would rather we not. So a lot of us are left with the decision to unfortunately transition after we've gone through our natal puberty, which is traumatizing. And then they look at us and they think, the YouTuber Jamie Dodger has a trans PhD, and he said shown how the science does not support trans folks. Yeah. If you've got the video, I'd love to watch it, honestly. I'd love to... you've already sent me the Daily Mail link. We'll look at that. But also, like, if you've got the specific video, Jamie's fucking great. We'll watch that. But anyway, like, what they're doing, you know, think about this generally speaking. What does society think of when they think of kids? They think of innocence, right? They think children have a very specific, precocious innocence. They don't know anything of the world, and we need to protect them from the dark realities until they're old enough to understand it. And unfortunately, a lot of people see transness and still broader queerness as well as some kind of dark reality of adulthood, right? That's what they're framing this as. So kids can't be gay, kids can't be trans, and that extends all the way through the teenage years, when kids are self-discovering, right? When they're beginning to realize their place in the world, beginning to actually self-actualize. And as a result, like, by framing it as though, oh, the transes are medically abusing children, they're trying to make us seem like really horrible, awful comic book villains, basically. And unfortunately, a lot of people who are sort of on the fence about transness will listen to dickheads like Graham Lennon and agree with him, right? Because they haven't paid enough attention.
Fighting for my right to make a living. It's why when a group of career feminists tried to get me to stop my activism, I told them to fuck off as politely as I could. As I say, my priority is not making my life more comfortable for those people. My priority is those two women who can't access rape crisis services anymore. So it's always...
I'm not sure. Oh, hang on. The video cuts. Okay. I'm not quite sure what he's going on about that.
It's a horrible shock.
Look up John Money. This fucker gave transphobes so much ammo against us. I've heard of John Money, yeah. And, of course, he's a regular name that comes up anytime a trans person on social media is a part of the discussion. People will bring up John Money and say, look, this one's aligned with you freaks.
Someone on your own side decides to whatever, throw you under the bus or bully you or accuse you of this or that. I usually get it whenever I have anything to do with a crowdfunder. Something about the combination of money and goodwill really annoys certain people, which is fine. As someone said about the whole thing, it's not easy allyship. And by now I know I have to try and take the rough with the smooth. And this brings me to Artie Morty. Artie has reached a somewhat high-profile position in this debate because of the work he's been doing on The Mess and on his own channel. From the very start, he has brought great insight, compassion, and humor to the show and to the debate. And the show wouldn't be...
There doesn't need to be a debate, though. It's like we didn't ask for a debate. You just sort of forced it upon us.
What it is without...
Debate culture can absolutely fuck off, by the way.
Without him. I wouldn't do the show without him. The same is true of Helen. Helen suffered in ways that I don't want to go into. We put a brave face on things, but all of us have had pretty traumatic experiences. It takes chunks out of you, this fight. It really does. So we're all kind of wounded.
It takes chunks out of you. Why are you doing this? Honestly, it takes chunks out of you, this fight. It's like, you're not the victim here, dipshit. You're trying to frame yourself as one, but it's like, yeah, exactly, Lauren. The world has bigger problems than people wanting to be the gender they feel most comfortable with. He's really trying to frame this as though he and his are the ones suffering. They're suffering and struggling because they can't give up their bigotry.
And we're all shell-shocked, and we all have PTSD.
Honestly, Paulie, exactly. Like, I don't understand what the story is with Graham Linehan. Why is he so bothered about transness? He made a few... I think in It Crowd, I don't know about his other shows, but at least in It Crowd, there was a whole episode basically devoted to transphobia, right? Like there was a character someone dated or something like that. A woman who later turned out to be a man, and there was like a man, you know, in the script. A woman who later turned out to be trans. And one of the final scenes in that episode was like an action movie fight scene between the trans woman and one of the male characters, if I recall correctly. And I haven't seen that episode, I don't think. I've only read about it. I've only seen like the first season of It Crowd. But anyway, and for those who don't know, Graham Linehan was one of the writers of It Crowd. And he's always seemingly had, this issue with trans people. He made a transphobic joke. Angry people said it was a bad joke. And then he's just spiraled. He's spiraled wildly out of control down this pipeline of, honestly, I think his obsession with hating trans people and trying to turn it into a moral crusade has terminated his career. And now he is desperately struggling to stay relevant using this. And the unfortunate reality is it's generally working to an extent because he was already famous for being that television show writer for a good while there. And because this is such a heated discourse right now, he has got support in the realm of TERFs, gender criticals, whatever they want to call themselves these days. So he's managing to stay just afloat, it seems. And because this is exactly what he's known for, it's honestly the same thing that happens to a lot of content creators, you could argue, I suppose. They get sort of tunneled into a niche. And Graham Linehan has found himself in that particular predicament of his entire reputation now is that he is a massive gender critical fuckwit and he won't let it go. And because it is at the very least keeping him just on the surface, he's sticking with it to the bitter end. He refuses to just concede because he knows if he does concede, he's got nothing left waiting for him. There are some great jokes in It Crowd. Oh yeah, like the episodes I saw were good. They weren't unfunny. They were good, but you know, just the fact that he's so desperate to die on this hill. Lesbians don't date women. Glinner, 2021. Man's thinking he's a fucking soldier in World War I, and every time he goes out to make the lives of trans people harder, he gets bombarded with chemical weapons or something. And by the way, hi Echo, how you doing? Yeah, he's insane. He's lost it. This is about how alt-right Nazis within the gender critical camp are attacking the gay man and trans woman-ish. I shouldn't laugh at trans woman-ish, but honestly, if you're going to be a gender critical trans woman, come now.
We're all exhausted, and still this stupid ideology continues to chunder on and continues to...
This is the stupid gender critical ideology continues to chunder on, you mean?
...take victims. Recently, I've noticed a change in Artie that has come about not because he has been facing robust disagreement, but because for a few months now, he has been bullied. And
oh no, poor Diddums.
First of all, he's being bullied by people on our
Hayton repeatedly states how she's a man. Wait, seriously? Why? Like
own side, who feel that the compassion Artie shows to men suffering with dysphoria is somehow a betrayal. The latest flashpoint.
Wait, go back. I'm confused. What just happened?
And worst of all, he's being bullied by people on our own side who feel that the compassion Artie shows to men suffering with dysphoria is somehow a betrayal. The latest flashpoint came when Debbie Hayton was interviewed by Stella O'Malley on her podcast. I haven't listened to the podcast yet. Sorry, Stella. She sent it to me recently. But I'm told that Debbie was typically open and honest about the compulsion that is AGP that led.
Oh, God, fucking AGP, Jesus. We're back to Blanchard. Debunked bullshit.
Into making some decisions that had a significant.
Keep in mind, this is one of the guys at the forefront of a movement that insists all of their ideology is based on the science and the reality, and AGP is neither of those things. It's fiction.
Significant effect on him and his family. Debbie is someone who some people on our side simply do not trust because of statements he's made and positions he's held in the past. I think that Debbie has done an immense amount for the gender critical cause and has been an invaluable ally. If some feminists reject that allyship, that is, of course, their right, but I don't reject it. Neither does Stella, nor Helen.
Stellan. If he's so emotionally invested in this, he should probably do some soul searching. I'd say psychotherapy would be a good option here, and I seriously mean it. I agree. Like, this is not a normal, healthy behavior that he's involving himself in, honestly. The way that he's going on about this is... and the fact that he continues to misgender Debbie, yeah. Which, obviously, they're always going to do that, because they seem to think that their right to free speech is being restricted by being asked to just respect a trans person's pronouns, like the most basic thing in the world. They really think that they are under some form of government oppression or something. I don't think Stellan Skarsgård is one of these Nazis somehow. Joanne's going down the same path. Eventually nobody will want to work with her, and her entire life will just be GC attacks on trans people. I wish that was true, but honestly, the unfortunate reality is that even if people are aware of how transphobic J.K. Rowling is, Harry Potter continues to be ludicrously successful, and she's still alive, she's still attached to the IP, and as long as she is attached to the IP, her estate is going to continue making tons and tons of money off it. So no matter which way you swing it, at least she's set for life, which is bleh. Anyway, moving on.
Nor Artie. That is our right. However, it is Artie who was tormented enough by the bullying to write an ill-advised drunken tweet where he lashed out. Helen was upset by the tweet. We were going to talk about this issue today, but I thought it might be an idea to take a few days off so I could make this statement. I should have made it several months ago when the bullying against Artie began. My only defense is that I didn't realize it had become quite as bad as it had. Artie is not someone to complain or even bring it up. I could just see it. I could see it in his eyes. He's very upset. It's knocked him back, and I love Artie, and I want him back to his old self. If we're going to row amongst ourselves, let's...
my local geek shop, I can't read, had a 2-pack of Wizarding World books for Crimbo. Ew. She's still getting money. She suffers from dysphoria, misgenders her constantly. Like, just be upfront, you don't care about people who suffer from dysphoria either. Yeah, exactly. Couldn't stomach misgendering her even when quoting him. Yeah, exactly. Double checked. Artie Morty isn't the gay gender critic who recently started tweeting pro-patriarchy stuff. Oh, okay.
Let's do it when we've won. Or let's just win and then go our separate ways. Because...
Let's just win. Like, this is honestly disturbing. Like, let's continue.
Knocked it back. And I love Artie, and I want him back to his old self. If we're going to row amongst ourselves, let's do it when we've won. Or let's just win and then go our separate ways.
Like, he and all the other gender critical people, like, look at this situation, and there is no way you can look at this statement as anything other than, I don't want to use this term, but it is quite frankly genocidal the way he's looking at this. He wants trans people, he and other gender criticals want trans people to just be gone, to stop existing. Right? He wants them to be socially excluded. He wants them to be othered. He wants them to be exterminated by any means necessary. Right? And so do the rest of them. They look at this kind of thing as a fight they need to win, as if there are two equal sides to this who have a vested interest in fighting over it. Right? There's one side who's like, please leave us alone to just exist. And there's another side who's like, your existence is a blight on society and we need to wipe you out. And that's terrifying. And yeah, like, I don't want to use the term genocide because that's really heavy, but it is the correct term here. And this was part of the stupid interaction I had on Twitter earlier today, where somebody called me, and I didn't even use genocide. They just accused me of using the term genocide, which I have, which other trans people and trans allies have used, because this kind of movement is a genocidal movement. They do want to actually eliminate and exterminate trans people. They want to socially other us, which they are doing, and then they want to make it acceptable to get rid of us completely, right? They would much prefer that transness goes away, 100%. They would live in a much more comfortable world if transness wasn't there to make them uncomfortable, right? Yeah, win what? Cause as much pain as possible? Graham Lennon is a fascist, plain and simple. 100%, yes. And exterminate. Let's just win. You know how in superhero movies, superheroes team up with the villain to defeat an even bigger evil? This man literally thinks trans people are a bigger evil than Nazis. Yes, exactly.
Because there's absolutely no reason we need to be friends with each other or even associated with each other beyond this fight.
That's another thing. That's another factor that's oddly disturbing about this. This is about how the alt-right Nazis within the gender critical camp are attacking the gay man and trans woman. He's literally, in that phrasing just there, he is defending Nazism. He's defending neo-Nazis. He's defending fascists, right? People like actual harmful movements that themselves have other genocidal ideologies within their camps, right? And he's saying, let's just get along. Let's just work together until this fight's all done and dusted. And then go our separate ways. As though it's weird. It's disturbing. All right, so Graham makes an emotional defense of his friends. Interesting that he's annoyed with people implying Artie is a misogynist in the exact same way cranks do to trans women. But when it's a cis man, it's needling. I don't know what needling means, according to Graham. Ideologically the same as Nazis, as if the Nazis will just stop that. Pretty much, yes. It's weird to see, that there are gay men aligned with the gender critical movement because, these people don't like gay people either. They don't care about women's rights either, right? How many gender criticals actually gave a shit about the abortion situation going on in the US recently? About the attempt to overturn Roe v. Wade. Have we seen any gender criticals commenting on that? I haven't. Oh, hang on.
But one thing I do know is that the people who stood up for me, defended me, and fought alongside me during these years are my friends forever. That includes Artie Morty, Helen Staniland, and yes, Debbie Hay. If that annoys you, then maybe the mess is just not the show for you. Look, if you didn't bully him, then this isn't about you. This is only about people who if you did bully him, then yeah, it's about you. But if you didn't bully him, it's not about you. It's very simple. Yeah. We do have a mod, and I have instructed Jen, who is our mod, to start banning people who are tormenting Artie. And I think one way they did it.
Oh my God, the people who are all like, oh, you're trying to suppress my free speech. They're banning people? Oh my God, this is literally 1984, wherever he's streaming to.
By saying, let Helen talk. People have been saying that a lot, and it is bullshit. Artie is very respectful of Helen. But, there's three of us here. Helen's a big girl. That's going to get me in trouble. A big woman.
Wait, go back. What did he... I missed that. Hang on.
Let Helen talk. People have been saying that a lot, and it is bullshit. Artie is very respectful of Helen. But, there's three of us here. Helen's a big girl. That's going to get me in trouble. A big woman. And she can stand up for herself, and she does. So please stop saying it in comments, or, I'm just going to start banning it, because stuff like that is just needling, and it's unfair. The other thing I want to do is, again, say, I'm so sorry, Artie and Helen, that I didn't talk about this earlier. I should have. I guess I always just think that things like that might settle themselves. It didn't, and the result is you know, this very upsetting and sad situation. I don't like seeing my friend like this. I love you, Artie.
Oh, he's going to have a cry. Okay. I don't know if there's anything else there. Does this go any further, or are we just going to...
And Helen. And...
I can't stand looking at his face. I'm sorry. He just... I'm not even trying to attack his appearance so much as his expression. So much as his... let's not tell people to KYS in my chat, thanks. Even if we're talking hypothetically and he's not in the room, you know. He looks like a sad bean. Yeah, demeanor, yes, exactly. He looks like somebody who's just, you know, like we mentioned before, the microwave meal for one. You know, he's in this so deep. This is the hill he will die on without a doubt. Yes, he will burn himself out on this to the bitter end, and then once he has burned himself out, he will just keep burning. He will not stop.
And and we'll be back.
Yeah, so like he's definitely sad. He knows he's in too deep. This is honestly really desperate. Anyway, I'm just reading the rest of Josh Pryor's comment here. 5 points if you didn't pee yourself at the beginning when he said gender crits encompass the far left. They are centrist right to far right, not a shadow of a doubt. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, that's honestly kind of debilitating. He's me after I find out Hassan isn't doing an okay buddy segment, right? Oh, goodness. And, like, it's weird. It's, like I mentioned before, like, he's so heavily emotionally invested in this because I think, like I mentioned before, he's dug himself this hole and he doesn't know how to climb out of it, right? And a part of me is like, I don't know, like, a part of me is thinking he doesn't know. A part of me is thinking he doesn't see how grim and pathetic it is. A part of me thinks he genuinely believes he's on some kind of moral right side of history or something like that. On the other hand, I think to myself, he has to know. He has to see, or it could be an act. It could be a complete fabrication. The other possibility. Sorry, my internal thesaurus has stopped working. Yeah, the other possibility is that he's... So what is it? The possibility one is that he's completely committed to this 100% and believes everything he's saying. Possibility two is that it's a fabrication. It's an act that he's putting on because he knows it can get him some degree of sympathy, some degree of audience, which is quite likely. And possibility three is that he holds these beliefs to some extent and realizes it has garnered him some level of notoriety and attention and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, he goes to sleep alone and he's crying himself to sleep because he realizes the mess he's gotten himself into. He is a hated individual through and through, and even his closest allies and the people he considers friends don't actually like him all that much. And he's alone, right? Which, you know, you would think siding with Nazis would show him he's crazy. I mean, yeah, he literally basically admitted in that segment there that the people he's aligning with, like, yeah, we don't get along, we don't agree on everything. And some of those people he's talking about are quite literally Nazis, right? He's a clout chaser, plain and simple. Basically, yes. To sum up. Sounds like Crowder, yeah, but Crowder's more successful than this idiot. There are some Marxist/Marxist-Leninist turfs, but they're an incredible minority and they suck at material analysis. To be fair, I also suck at material analysis. I am not a smart person. I just masquerade as one on the internet. I don't know why any of you pay attention to me. Marxist-Leninists are insane anyways. You've never met a smart ML. He's not as good on the interwebs. He's not as good at the interwebs. Oh, I see. But yeah, there's that segment. I just thought that would be fun to go over because it's always interesting to look at how Lenin is slowly crumbling apart. We'll make you a material analyst yet. Oh, I'm just going to do another little quick recording here. If you enjoyed this video for some reason, if you liked watching Graham Lennon cry, leave a like, comment on this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Peace. Anyway, why I did that, I don't know. I'm trying to make content. I'm trying to make content here. And this is the thing, is like, I think there are a lot of people, I genuinely believe, like this throws back to the article we read recently. I genuinely believe that there are a lot of people in the transphobic movements, in gender critical, TERF movements, whatever you want to call it, who are only in it because they've been convinced it's good off the back of believing that they are more progressive, generally speaking, but they genuinely believe, rather, that they are good people, and they've been convinced by the arguments gender criticals make. They've been convinced by the very few articles not the very few articles demonizing trans people, but like there's a thing that transphobes tend to do where they will bring up like, oh, look at this news article, this trans person was a predator, blah blah blah, and they get convinced by that. They get convinced by cases like you know, the one that wanted to get her genitals waxed or whatever. They get convinced by those pieces of media when they previously didn't really have an opinion on trans people, and they start getting invested in it. I think a lot of gender critical people get invested in it off like a few pieces of fear-mongering media, and then it spirals from there, and they become obsessive with it. They become obsessed with the idea that trans people are this blight on society, and as a result, they've got nowhere to run, right? They find themselves in this community of people who similarly hate trans people, and they're just constantly circling that rhetoric, circling that drain, honestly. They're just recycling it over and over again, back and forth to each other, about how evil and how bad trans people are. And then the reality might hit them at some point, but they're in too deep and they can't get out, which is a grim thought, honestly. I think there are a number of gender crits who don't actually believe what they're saying, but they're like, I can't really get out of this now. I'm invested in this. But anyway, fruit flies in a soggy drain, basically, yes. It was hard for me to come out as trans because I grew up in a very conservative area. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like they have to keep convincing themselves over and over again that their way is the right way. And they have to assert that there's some kind of moral quandary surrounding trans people. Anyway, we're going to call a quick break right there, and then we'll come back. And we do have this article by the Daily Fail, and we've got a couple of other things here. You know, I do have some other news we can, take a look at, including the fact that Kevin Feige, the boss of Marvel, has confirmed Charlie Cox is returning as Daredevil. That's the only piece of Marvel Cinematic news I could give a single fuck about. I feel like, honestly, a lot of these people already consider themselves liberal/tolerant, but still find trans people kind of icky, and the GC movement picks up on that and coddles them. Yes, exactly. Anyways, even if you're like, I don't know, Los Angeles, it'd be difficult for you to come out as trans. Yeah, it'd be difficult anywhere. And it's difficult to be outwardly trans. It's difficult to be completely and forwardly transgender as a general rule. You know, it's difficult to say to the world, hey, this is me, in a world where, especially right now, we are the discourse, right? We're going to have Daredevil movies. I kind of doubt it, but we might get a new Disney Plus series or something. Or he might be Matt Murdock in the new Spider-Man movie. That could very well happen, I reckon. Anywho, we'll be back in a moment. Don't go away, folks. Enjoy yourselves in the bar here. Help yourself to a drink. I'll be right back. Don't mind the very jarring way that I just bring my volume down. Sorry if you can hear my chains, by the way. I know I could hear myself clinking them on my desk the entire time there. How's it going, folks? Welcome back. Well, welcome me back. You should be welcoming me back. Also, I just realized. I'm going to be one of them bitches. I'm going to be one of them bitches, really quickly, who just sits on her phone, sits on her smartphone. Okay. Somebody just, like, must have reported one of my tweets as suicidal or something. Okay, Twitter safety. Fuck off. I forgot to enter into my fitness pal today. A couple of things that I've eaten. So I'm going to add those now. I didn't eat dinner. Well, this is what's weird. It's like I had dinner, but I had it at like 4-ish. Yeah. Which is kind of like not really... What? There's 9 in the packet. No, I've had 2. You've had 2. Yeah. You like the chain? Yeah, I had like dinner at like 4-ish. Hadn't really eaten before that. Have only had little bits and pieces since that. Look, I have... Don't come to me for dietary advice, okay? Visited by 3 Christmas ghosts asking for directions to Jeff Bezos' house. Would you call that a choker? I mean, yeah, it technically is. It's defined as one. I like my chokers. I've got a few. I've got just like, you know, just a couple. There's another one in here. Plus there's like smaller, like thin chokers that I've got. Pardon me while I just chuck all these away. I've got a bunch. I want more. It's more of a collar. What's the difference, honestly? What's the difference between... I mean, I suppose, yeah, it's got a ring. It's got a honking ring. You can put stuff on it. I'm going to just, like, put other things. I'm going to hang a chain of, like, a whole bunch of just little charms, like a Pandora choker. Anyways, shall we move on? Hang all the other chokers. Fuck them. I should put them up somewhere. A collar is made to attach a leash to it. Yeah, I mean, you could technically say that about this, but it's not. I don't think that the ring is made to have a leash attached to it.
The Rogue Room appreciates your recommendation.
Hey, L30, thank you so kindly for the host. And anyway, let's move on to some news. I'm still like 4 subs away from my daily sub goal. I can't believe this shit. I'm actually insulted that I haven't hit 5 subs today. Oh my god, what a ripoff. Sony vice president fired after appearing in pedophile sting video. He allegedly planned to meet a 15-year-old boy. Let's do some news. A senior vice president from Sony has been terminated from the electronics and entertainment giant after being caught up in an amateur pedophilia sting video. George Cacioppo was allegedly trying to arrange a meeting with a 15-year-old boy, according to a video posted by the YouTube channel People vs. Preds. Cacioppo had been a senior vice president of engineering for Sony for the past 8 years.
Appreciates your recommendation.
Turner Boys, thanks so kindly for the host. And worked on the PlayStation Store according to his LinkedIn profile. He has since been fired after appearing in the video. Caught in 4K. We are aware of the situation and employee in question has been terminated from employment, Sony said in an emailed statement Sunday. Cacioppo didn't immediately respond to a request for comments submitted through his LinkedIn account. In the video, a cameraman is seen walking down a street towards a house that Cacioppo was standing outside of. He then asks Cacioppo who he's planning on meeting, referring to him as Jeff. As the cameraman asks more questions, Cacioppo walks back into the house and closes the door while refusing to answer. The cameraman proceeds to start yelling he would call the cops on Cacioppo. Hey, well, welcome in from FB. How you going, Turner? What's going on? We are having an awesome stream. It's been a fun one so far. According to a Google Drive link posted in the video's description, Cacioppo allegedly spoke with a person who said they were 15 years old on Grindr. Ew, gross. Not the Grindr bit, the fact that there are 15-year-olds on there. The social networking app for gay, bi, trans, and queer people. The two exchanged pictures, and Cacioppo told the decoy that his name was Jeff. He then allegedly provided the decoy with his address in order to have sex. The decoy said they would take an Uber to his location, and Cacioppo was allegedly waiting outside. It's unclear whether law enforcement was called following the encounter. San Diego police didn't immediately respond to a request for comment on the matter. Holy shit. Giga Chad cameraman versus Virgin Television executive. Anyway, into some kinky shit, aren't we all? This is a kink friendly stream. Anyways, there was that. I just wanted to bring that up because, like, holy shit. That's like, you know, Get him. Fucking nail him to the wall, honestly. Anyway, let's have a look at this article. Let's go back to the turfy shit for a minute, because here's what's going on, right? Okay, so this is a Daily Mail article, right? So first and foremost, consider this with some, what would you call it? Take this with a grain of salt. Who was this again? Sony VP something. VP of Engineering. I literally forgot the details. Hang on, let me do this. Open up previously opened tabs. Sony VP. George Cacioppo. Sony's senior Sony Vice President of Engineering. Worked in the PlayStation Store. Anyway, let's read this. Let's read this. Yeah, what is with this headline? First and foremost, this is the Daily Fail, not the Vice President of Sony. Sony VP of Engineering, I think it said. Where did it say it? It said it here somewhere. Has been Senior Vice President of Engineering for Sony for the past 8 years. But yeah, look at this headline. Look at this fucking headline. This is 7 lines. This is 7 lines. Why were 2 6-foot men allowed in my Zara changing room as I stood there in a bra? Charlotte Griffiths popped in to try on a sparkly top for the office party. Then she found herself facing a dilemma that would have been unthinkable even 5 years ago. And like this here. This is a transphobic dog whistle right off the bat, right? 2 6-foot men. And this gets weirder, okay? I've already read the plot synopsis. It's the night of my office Christmas party, and not for the first time I have left shopping for an outfit to the last minute. With barely half an hour to spare before I have to start mingling, I am in need of a festive top. And while I have tried to give up fast fashion, when needs must, there's only one place that springs to mind. Zara's. Like right off the bat, we've got advertising. The branch in High Street, Kensington, West London is just 150 yards from my office, and after a decade of popping in during my lunch breaks, it feels like home. I know the layout like the back of my hand. Downstairs for menswear, upstairs for kids and casual, and ground floor for menswear and the female changing rooms. So it takes me no time at all to identify a sequin top and navigate straight to the changing room to try it on. My luck's in. There's no queue, and I am quickly allocated one of the 6 booths arranged in an oval shape around a shared area and a communal mirror. But then things take a strange turn. Alright, so we're in an oval shape around a shared area with a communal mirror. Once I am done with my cubicle, 2 very tall men are shown into the changing room by an assistant, as if this was the most normal thing in the world. What's the problem here? Yeah, this whole thing's an ad. What is the specific issue here? So there are 6 booths arranged in an oval shape around a shared area and a communal mirror. So you're in a store that has a shared changing room area with private cubicles. You walked out of the cubicle to try on a top and see yourself in the mirror. You're not naked or anything. You gotta go to bed right here, Turner. So, as if this is the most normal thing in the world. I mean, it's a public changing area, right? Where you have the privacy of a cubicle all to yourself, but then you step out of the cubicle into the area that is public, and all of a sudden you've got a problem. Oh no. There are men present. And this is the thing, right? Judging by what I'm hearing here, is this an advertisement? It kind of sounds like she's dragging like the Zara store for this. Once I am done with my cubicle, 2 very tall men. What does it matter if they're tall, by the way? Anyway, sentient cannoli. It is the most normal thing. Work 9:30 till 6. Oh my goodness. Yeah, get some rest. She's acting like this is the zombie apocalypse. This is a genuine overreaction. Yeah, it makes them sound more interesting. Holy shit, they're tall! You can't have tall men near me. I'm a woman! I am genuinely agog, not to say offended, to see 2 people clearly presenting as men, completely at ease in what I had assumed was the women's changing room. Was it marked as the women's changing room? You don't hear a cat, you hear me jingling. What was it marked as the women's changing room? Because like going back here, shared area and a communal mirror. There are 6 booths. I mean, I've been in a number of stores where there's just changing rooms because they're individual booths, right? They're not like there are stores. I've been to stores where they've got men's and women's changing rooms, but generally speaking, a lot of the shops I go into to try clothes on that are like unisex stores have got just changing rooms. They're just a cubicle you go in privately and they have a mirror in them, right? Oh no, tall people intimidate me. This was the kind of thing I have sometimes read about happening in high street shops, but never really expected to experience myself. Like the vast majority, I'm not doing the voice anymore. Like the vast majority of women, I expect women's changing rooms to be just that, for women. So far, we have heard no indication as to whether or not the changing room was actually marked as a women's changing room. Yeah, is this a Dear Playboy article? Holy fuck, how long does this go for? Christ on a dick. Anyway, naturally, I'm keen to see what these 6-foot-tall, masculine-looking men are buying. They each seem to have a mixed pile of garments to try on, and one of them was the very same sequin top I had just tried. Oh no, gender nonconformity. Flabbergasted, I emerged to ask an assistant at the tills whether men are allowed in the Zara's female changing rooms these days. She tells me that the girl on the changing room door is new and had probably made a mistake. She promises to go and sort it out. Reassured, I carry on with my quest to find a suitable party top. After a while, I make my way back to the changing rooms. Now I am really short of time and all the booths are full. So in haste, I find a discreet spot in the communal area where I whip off my top. That sounds like a you problem, darling. I think nothing of doing so. After all, I am in a rush and I'm in a safe space. Or so I thought. Again, I hear 2 male voices. I spin around to find the men from earlier still in the changing room, emerging from their respective booths and talking to one another right over my head as if I am invisible. But I don't feel invisible. I feel exposed in my bra. Turfs, just be a GNC man. Also Turfs. Oh no, a 180 centimeter man is a sequin top. How dare he? More men in sequin tops. I cover myself as best I can by crossing my arms over my chest like I've been caught in a 1960s carry-on movie. I stare at the floor, and although I am not usually a shrinking violet, I hope it will swallow me up. Again, I appeal to the assistant for help. What can we do? She shrugs, looking apologetic, if that's how they classify themselves. I feel... This is, honestly, this whole thing reeks of fanfic, doesn't it? She looks eager to help, but totally unsure what to do, so I let the matter drop. I am mostly just offended that a booth I needed has been taken up by men who had their own changing rooms. You chose to take off your shirt, lady, yeah. It's not anybody else's fault. But what if a more reserved woman had been there? I like the hypothetical. What if it was somebody else? Being shy is hard enough in a room full of semi-naked women, let alone men. I later text a fashion editor friend. Oh, look at you. You got a friend who's a fashion editor. To ask what she made of it, and she replies, my teenage daughter would freak out. Can't remember the last time you've seen gendered changing rooms. Yeah, exactly. It sounds like someone writing to Penthouse magazine to explain the sexual experience they had. It's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. Who's believing this shit? A more reserved woman would have taken her top off inside a cubicle. Like, bitch, how long do people actually... And honestly, the whole situation is your own fault. Like, first of all, nothing in this story is painting this person as the victim she so desperately claims to be. She went in here last minute. She had all the time in the world before this, but she left it to the last minute, and now she's in a rush to get a top for the Christmas party. Like, all the perfect little details have been sprinkled together on this steaming pile of shit. My fashion editor friend, incredible. Imagine being that privileged. Instead of resorting to the communal area, I suppose I could have made my way to the men's changing room. You literally could have. To see if there was a free booth. But in that scenario, I would feel really uncomfortable. What woman would feel safe surrounded by half a dozen men protected by only a flimsy curtain? She committed indecent exposure because she didn't want to be late to a damn Christmas party. Yeah, exactly. Anyways. Later, I speak to a manager at the branch who indicates they don't feel they have any clear instructions on the issue from head office, and a Zara spokesman could not be reached for comment last night. How convenient. In some stores, we get complaints when we let men into the changing rooms on the women's floor, and in some stores, we get complaints when we don't, the manager says. We have to be very careful in a very sensitive time, and it's very easy to offend people. Stop trying to... Stop... Oh, God. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to pause your stupid video. Can you stop? I can't stop that video. Can I... I can block the element, though. Block the element. Stop playing. Anyway, as a general rule, if people carrying women's clothes to try on, then they can use the changing rooms on the women's floor. There we go. I don't know how true that is, but, you know. We have to try it on a case-by-case basis. I ask another staff member if she knew the policy, and she says the same thing. Our managers tell us to let people into the women's changing rooms if they are carrying women's clothes, she said. And how does that work if there are women in the changing rooms from more conservative cultures? Yes, that is a problem in our Marble Arch branch. The manager concedes that area is home to a large Arabic community. Our decisions also have to depend on the ethnic profile of other customers in the room at that time. Different branches have different problems, and it's something that has been cropping up for 2 or 3 years now. While she seems to imply that I was a bit late to the party, I don't feel I am. This is something I've never experienced before and hope to never experience again. And I was late to the party. Haha, my office party too. This is fake. This is fucking fake, honestly. This story did not happen. And if it did, she's drastically... I mean, even then, you could say she's drastically overestimated, exaggerated the circumstances. This is fake. This is a fabrication. There's no way this shit is real. Comment last night is a trope these rags use where they send requests for comments and a couple hours before the article is published late at night on a Sunday. Yeah. What are the chances they were 2 trans women and she made up most of it? Yeah. Which the whole story just reeks of blatant transphobic dog whistles. You know, you start out with the 2 6-foot men, you know, barging into the women's changing rooms. Anyway, yeah. A little racism sprinkled in there too. I bet you they weren't even 6 foot. Burgeoning. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's totally and completely ridiculous. Why would 2 trans women meet up to boy mode in a Zara while simultaneously buying women's clothes? I mean, yeah. It does sound like Tumblr fiction. It sounds like it's not even that unbelievably tall. Yeah, really. Even if it was 2 6-foot men, it's like that's pretty average man height, honestly. It's not too far off the mark. Is that supposed to scare anybody? What are you getting at? I just wanted to go over that because it was ridiculous. Like, I saw the headline earlier and I'm like, well, just on the headline alone. And everybody in the store clapped, yeah. I complained to management and management said I was completely in the right to call out those men for being in the change rooms. And everybody applauded. Like, it's... This didn't happen. If I buy women's clothes, I go on femme specifically because, like most trans people, I don't want cis people paying me undue attention. Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I was first transitioning and I went to, like, Kmart, even just going through the women's section in what I generally consider to be pretty mask clothing, just like t-shirts and jeans or whatever, you know, I wanted to buy these clothes and I had to just, like, I kept having to pretend that I was shopping for my girlfriend, looking at my phone. It's like, oh, what did she tell me to get again? Which was really fucking awkward. Now I'm a lot more comfortable shopping for women's clothes because I look like a chick, but, you know, generally speaking. 6 foot's not that tall, your mum is 6 foot. The indignation of they didn't even notice me. Yeah, like, even if this was a real story, they weren't paying any attention to you, you twit. Again, the self-victimization, the trying to make out like it's the worst thing in the world that men are near you. Oh no, the horror. Hang on, Kmart. Yes, there's, the Kmart is still a pretty popular chain here in Australia. You weren't joking when you said on Trans Awareness Week, please don't be aware of me, do not perceive me, leave me the fuck alone, I wish. Yes. And it's like, somebody made a jab recently in one of my YouTube videos in the comments about how, like, you know, why do we need a Trans Awareness Week? And it's like, well, yeah, honestly. I mean, I understand why we do, because it's trying to spread more positive awareness, generally speaking. By the way, hi Miss Glitchka, how you doing? Yeah, Kmart is thriving in Australia. It's different to the US, it is. And it's like, why do we need a Trans Awareness Week? And they were arguing from the point of like, why don't we have a hetero awareness week? Where's my straight awareness week? And it's like, well, first of all, being trans is not a sexuality, but, you know, on the inverse, it's like, you've kind of got a point though. It's like, yeah, can we not have any more awareness? We're well aware of how people are aware of us right now. We would like a little bit of peace and quiet. Thank you. Please stop looking at us for a bit. Stop having a discourse on our existence. Yeah, Australia's Kmart is thriving. They're one of the most notable department store chains in the country, next to Big W and Target. I don't know which of the three is the most successful, but Kmart recently-ish have like completely redone their stores, so they look all nice and fresh and new and stuff. Straight Pride Month is necessary. It's yeah, like the thing of like it wasn't even like Straight Pride Month. It was Straight Awareness like Week, or they wanted to make that comparison. It's like, I'm sorry, is anyone not aware of straight people? They're kind of everywhere. Hard to avoid them. Gender non-conforming person exists. Turf unholy screeching. Yeah, it's kind of like, it's honestly amusing, the whole gender non-conformity argument from gender criticals. Whenever the discussion is brought up about like, well, no, like they make this point and then argue against it themselves. They literally will make the point of like I mentioned before, why can't trans women just be effeminate men? You can be gender non-conforming. It's acceptable these days. It's not, obviously. The sheer fact that gender non-conforming people do genuinely face harassment like all of the fucking time. Just watch any time like a man says, I'm gonna wear a skirt, and then just gets bombarded with hate about how he's not a real man or any of that kind of shit. That's beside the point, of course, that trans women are not just effeminate men, and trans men are not just butch women. Yeah, that's like not what's going on. What's being talked about right now, I suppose we're still on TERFs and gender crits generally speaking, but you know, also TERFs are all misandrists. Misandry's a confusing one, and misandry's an interesting one. I saw a take recently. And I want to hear your thoughts on this, folks. So yeah, this is a trans stream. We're going to talk about TERFs like all night, as we do every single week. Here's a thought. Somebody mentioned that misandry doesn't exist. It's a response to misogyny. Right? So, like, the only reason that misandry exists as a concept is because misogyny is genuinely a thing. Now, as a result, like, there are plenty of generally women, but there are also men who are misandrist, who are, like, specifically hateful towards men, right? But it helps to look at misogyny in the same way you would look at, say, well, you would look at misogyny like sexism, like institutionalized sexism, right? Where misandry can't really have the same kind of impact as an idea as misogyny can, because men do not face the same systemic oppression that women do on the basis of their gender. Does that make sense? Are we... What I want to know what your thoughts... Like, this is just me relaying an idea. I want to know what your thoughts are on it. I'm curious what you folks have to say. Stark thought butch or GNC women being harassed in public toilets was an okay price to pay to discriminate against trans women, which is literally the same thing Posey Parker said as well. They agree with the idea that anyone who is a gender non-conforming woman, gender non-conforming cis woman, mind you, they were just like, oh yeah, that's okay, that's going to happen. And I thought like their whole thing was women's rights. I thought the entire gender critical feminist movement was women's rights, right? Okay, you want to protect women's rights? Or, well, what's the deal with gender non-conforming women who happen to be cis or trans? It doesn't matter if they're cis or trans. If you actually cared about women's rights, you wouldn't care if a woman was cis or trans. Sardine, jelly beans, yes, very good. Very good take, thank you. Yes, Melbourne. We're trying to go to Melbourne. We're still trying to go to Melbourne. Misandry and misogyny have both existed together for a very long time. However, misandry, unlike misogyny, is kind of founded on stable ground, as men are scientifically proven, more impulsive, and therefore potentially more dangerous. So I think the issue specifically is that misogyny is rooted in effectively punching down. Whereas, yeah, like you mentioned, like, well, misandry, I wouldn't even, well, you could say, yeah, scientifically proven, more impulsive, more dangerous, whatever. Like, yeah, there is an issue of men having more, strength in the power dynamic between the two. Blanchard is on record as stating he only proposed AGP, AAP or AGP, or is there something else called AAP? is on record saying he only proposed AGP due to political correctness.
A little under the table action never went astray.
Team Pepsi Max for contributing $9.61. Thank you so kindly. Misogyny is rooted in patriarchal oppression, but misogyny was born more out of keeping... Misandry was born out of keeping people safe. So yeah, like the two... You got a dip right here, Luba. Have a good one. Oh, autoandrophilia, the trans man. Oh, I see. Okay, that completely went over my head. Sorry. So he only proposed AAP due to political correctness, as he was suggesting AGP existed. Okay, I get you. But yes, try to fix your sleeping schedule up, Lupa. So yeah, like misogyny is much more of a serious issue, something we should actually genuinely consider. Misandry's not an issue, but it doesn't have anywhere near the legitimacy of the effects of misogyny. We do live in a misogynist, patriarchal, oppressive culture, right? Broadly speaking. Where women are categorically oppressed by the basis of being women. And misandry is more, well, men are... Hang on. I'm wrapping my head around multiple concepts at once. So, so like, I don't think misandry is not a thing. But men could not possibly be as harmed by misandry as women could be harmed by misogyny. Does that make sense? Blanchard stated he didn't believe in autoandrophilia, and that it couldn't exist, so there's his scientific rigor for it. Yeah. It was literally just like this just proves that AGP was completely made up. Talking about power imbalances stemming from the same place that racism does. Well, yeah. Like the All Lives Matter thing. You know, you could argue, yeah, all lives matter, okay, but not all lives are at risk right now. You know? Not all lives are in danger, not all lives are oppressed. You know? People of color are oppressed, but white people in those same societies where Black Lives Matter is a movement, is an actual political movement, there's a reason that Black Lives Matter is a political movement, and it's because black lives are the ones at risk, broadly speaking. Blanchard is just a massive misogynist and trans misogynist. Yes, exactly. Yeah, all lives matter, no shit, not all lives are oppressed though, pretty much. It's the same argument. Autogynephilia and autoandrophilia, the idea you get sexually aroused by thinking of yourself as the opposite sex. Which, here's an interesting thought, right? A lot of what is in Blanchard's thoughts on... a lot of what's in Blanchard's theories basically boil down to if a woman finds herself sexually attractive for any reason whatsoever, that is a sick fetish and must be punished, right? But... most of the women I know find themselves sexually attractive. Like, the girls I've spoken to who buy lingerie don't buy it to show someone else. I mean, some of them do. But, like, I mean, that's like a part of the factor. But they also buy lingerie because they like how they look in it. Like, people get off to themselves. This is not some crazy concept. Yeah, cis people get off to that too, yeah. It's really weird trying to pathologize people's sexuality. Contra did a good video on autogynephilia, yeah. It is just genuinely a ridiculous argument, it is. It's nonsense. Just another twist to say, but real women are non-sexual and pure. Basically, yes. You know, it's an attempt to condemn people for daring to have sexual fantasies about themselves. And this is something I probably shouldn't say on the internet. Like most of the things that I say. But there is this psychological concept, I think, associated with transness, which is more anecdotal than anything else. But I have heard this from some trans women I've spoken to, that once they started experimenting with their gender presentation privately, there was arousal. They did feel aroused by it. And I am one of those. And the reason is not specifically, it's like, oh my God, this is so hot, I look like a woman. The reason is just the overwhelming sense of euphoria that your body doesn't quite know how to respond to. So it does the only thing it knows how to respond to. It has a sexually aroused response. Which has since gone away. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm cute, I'm hot. And yeah, you know what, as a trans woman, I do make the joke to myself. I am now multiple people. I do make the joke to myself sometimes, it's like, yeah, I'd fuck me. I do the Silence of the Lambs thing because I find it amusing. It's a gag, it's a giggle. I'm not serious about it. This is another thing, right, honestly, that GCs tend to not get, is that trans people are allowed to make jokes. Conveniently, funnily enough, we're allowed to make jokes, and I made a joke on Twitter recently, and it got brigaded by a bunch of fuckwits who don't know what a joke is. I made a joke specifically for trans people to have a giggle at. Mostly trans women. You know, the idea of a woman with a cock is patently ridiculous in modern society. And I made a joke about trans women with cocks and lesbians with cocks. 2 separate tweets. And the TERFs got offended at it and brigaded it. Almost proving my point, actually. What was the joke? I can't even remember. I don't even give a shit. Someone called for a lesbian with a cock. In parentheses before the cock, can you put huge? Anyway, should stop making those gags. I don't even remember what I said. Because here's the thing. As someone who posts so much on Twitter about so many different topics, my notifications are blowing up every day. I can't be bothered scrolling back through them to find the specific thing. Oh shit, I didn't mean to close that tab. Hang on, I wanted to look at this because it's interesting. Recently closed tabs. That Silence of the Lambs joke, gonna have to add that one to your arsenal. It's fun, honestly. It's stupid because people think that trans women are genuinely like that. Like, I like to make gags at myself, at my own expense. I like to make jokes at my own expense based on the shit gender criticals say. And I'm allowed to because I'm the one who's actually being punched down on in that scenario. You know? I'm allowed to be the one having a giggle.
Guests.
Hello, Laura.
Welcome, friends.
Welcome, friends. Hello. Welcome in to the Rogue Room, friends. That's the wrong app. I need my lighting app to change the colors on this. How's it going, folks? Welcome in. We're talking, laughing at yourself. What's going on? What's happening? How was your stream? What'd you get up to? Doing some just chatting. This is the best stream to raid on. I'm glad you like it. I hope so. Excuse me. So many films in the 90s showed trans women in a bad light. It continued into the 2000s. Look at me. Thank you. I'm glad you... please look at me. Give me more attention. Anyway. Someone called for a lesbian with a huge cock. Yes. Anyway. Hello, friends. Welcome into the Rogue Room. My name is Abigail. I talk into this thing here. And I'm also trying to raise money to go to Melbourne soon. And that's... we've been mostly talking about turfism all night. Like, that's basically been it. You can't stay, but fuck me, you're gorgeous. Yeah, I am, though. Have a good one, Laura. Thank you so kindly for the raid. Have a lovely evening. Or day. What time is it there? I don't know. Anyways. Let's see. Oh my god. Okay. Let's put the lights back to normal for a minute. It's noon. Cool. I mean, that works. It is currently 11:08 p.m. here. Oh, anyway. It's 7 a.m. Where is it where you are right now? Everybody in chat, post what time it is, where you are right now. There's an autism motto, different, not less. Yes, exactly. That's a good one. As an autistic person, I agree with that. I think I am different, not less, for being autistic. 5:30 p.m. in India. 1 p.m., 1 a.m., 10:08, 8 p.m. Australia, noon, 12 p.m. London, 2 p.m., 0408, 1208 Turfland, 1208 Ireland. It's already 1 p.m. in Europe, fuck. I mean, honestly, when I go like, fuck, it's 1 p.m., it's usually because I woke up at like 11 and I haven't been up for much of that day at all. 1908 East Java, Indonesia. There we go. Nice. We got a lot going on here. We got a lot, people from all over the place. It's actually kind of cool. 7 a.m. in Florida. How's Florida going? You're the only one in Abby's time zone. You may well be. I mean, there's a good reason you're in my time zone, though. You know, I have a strong suspicion you know what that is. Because you're dating her. Damn, what's that? I might have a girlfriend physically in my house. Is that breaking COVID restrictions? We don't really have restrictions at the moment. Here's the thing about COVID, though. Here's the thing about Omicron variants and all of that. Is it looks as though New South Wales and Victoria are going to be keeping their borders open even in the wake of this new Omicron variant, which seems as though it's nowhere near as harmful as previous variants, which is a good thing. Anyway. Where are we? So, relationships. Yes, one of those. 4 a.m. Goodness me. So where were we? I think, yeah, in the wake of everything going on, ABC News has got a coronavirus tab. I'm pretty sure I read a headline. New South Wales records 10 more Omicron COVID-19 cases as total number reaches 25. Viruses tend to evolve to be less deadly but more infectious. It's just a little scary because vax people can catch it, yes, which is worrying. So we've got to be ultra careful. We still got to be ultra careful. I swear I read some headline somewhere. Let me see if it's on The Guardian. Australia. Supposed to go to a fucking job fair tomorrow, but me and my uni mates are going on strike. Oh, on the subject of strikes, let's cover strikes. This is quite worth looking at. New South Wales public school teachers are striking tomorrow. Here's everything you need to know. We support a good teacher strike. A big part of why I'm here so inconsistently, despite you being on my top 5 streamers. Oh, I appreciate that. New South Wales public school teachers and principals are walking off the job tomorrow. The first time in a decade such statewide industrial action has been taken. The Teachers Federation Council has apologised for all the disruption to families, but says it has no choice after trying to negotiate with the New South Wales government for the last 18 months. Here's what you need to know. Why are teachers striking? I will always cover strikes. I am hugely in favour of workplace democracy and unionization and all that kind of shit. Hugely in favor of it. So if you've got some strikes going on, got some strike news, give it to me. I love this shit. The workforce needs to strike more honestly. The key reasons given for the strike include a 2.5% salary cap that's been in place for 10 years and chronic teacher shortages. In line with the recommendations of the independent Gallup inquiry, teachers and principals are seeking a salary increase of between 5 and 7.5% per year. Teachers Federation President Angelo Gavrielato said staff wages were creating unsustainable staff shortages, not staff wages, you dipshit, were creating unsustainable workloads. In fact, since June, the teacher shortage had there are 2,000 vacancies today from Bondi to Broken Hill, and these shortages will grow over the course of the next number of years, he said. Broken, you're a cunt. The Teachers Union points to a report from the Education Department warning the government that New South Wales public schools would run out of teachers in the next 5 years. Holy shit, that is terrifying. Internal briefings show the state needs another 11,000 teachers over the next 10 years because of a baby boom. At the same time, there's been a 30% drop in young people entering initial teacher education and a 50% dropout rate. Fuck. The Federation's claim about staff shortages has been disputed by the New South Wales Education Department. It said the vacancy rate in New South Wales for teachers was at a low level for an organisation of its size. A vacancy in a school is covered by a casual or temporary teacher and does not mean a class is without a teacher, the department said in a statement. What do I do with my kids tomorrow? Put them in front of the PlayStation or something? I don't fucking know. Unions in New South Wales said individual schools and principals would decide whether there were enough skeleton staff to supervise children. Parents are advised to make other arrangements for their children as classes will be cancelled. However, this is literal cancel culture. However, parents can also contact their school to find out if childcare is available. However, the Education Department said the majority of schools across the state would remain open with supervision for students. Parents have been informed where schools would be closed and those students would have access to learning from home material. Education Secretary Georgina Harrison said she understood the frustration of families and the industrial action capped off a difficult year for many parents and carers. I want to reassure parents that we are doing all we can to ensure learning continues without disruption, especially given the challenges students, teachers, and families have experienced this year, Ms. Harrison said. What is the deadline for negotiations? The New South Wales Supreme Court has been asked to consider whether the strike can be averted. The Education Department has called on teachers to comply with the Industrial Relations Commission order and not strike. The department is still negotiating with the Federation on their claims, and the place for this is in the IRC, Ms. Harrison said. The action comes after 18 months of negotiations over a pay deal, and the Education Minister Sarah Mitchell said it was disappointing to see teachers going ahead with the strike while talks were underway. This is the way this shit works, you fucks. Despite the ruling of the Industrial Relations Commission that the action not take place, the Federation seem hell-bent on this disruption, she said. Yeah, because this is how you make shit happen. This is how you make this work, alright? You gotta disrupt shit. I think for our kids, it's been a hard enough year for them already. We need to have them in the classroom each and every day. Premier, why does that sound weird all of a sudden? Premier Dominic Perrottet, I hate his name by the way, has previously said the government's position remains that public servants in New South Wales get a 2.5% pay increase. Yeah, well, the government's position is wrong. Ultimately, this is a matter that will be brought to the Industrial Relations Commission. That's where it will be resolved, Mr. Perrottet said. When did teachers last strike? The last time teachers held a mass walkout in New South Wales, thousands protested outside state parliament in 2011 over a 2.5% cap on public sector pay rises. They were joined by nurses, firefighters, and police in that strike, which was also deemed illegal by the New South Wales Industrial Relations Commission. Based. Illegal protests. Fucking get it. The commission fined the state's teachers union $6,000. Don't fucking care. Do illegal protests. Do it. Illegal protests. Shake shit up. Dill, are you high? Yeah, what? Exclamation mark play. That's not a command. Who wants to guess whether or not that's a particularly transphobic Family Guy episode? I'm just curious. MLK Jr. solved racism by being a calm black. There was a good video that did we watch this? Did we watch T1J? I am sure we watched a video. Was it T1J or was it someone else? Where we watched a video, and maybe it was somebody else. We watched a video on protests. Maybe it was this one. Was it How White Supremacists Hide in Plain Sight? I can't recall. But I'm sure there was a video. Either we watched a video together as a stream or I watched a video that basically covered, you know, the myth that MLK was sort of a peaceful protester, so to speak. And how a lot of people misinterpret his words. Like conservatives misinterpret the words of Martin Luther King Jr. Especially that phrase, judge a man not by the color of his skin, but the content of his character. I think it might have been someone reacting to PragerU, actually, where they used that phrase. They took that comment. They took that comment and tried to, what was it? I'm pretty sure there was a PragerU video where they were trying to argue that point of color blindness. Who did the video? Fuck. It was a video on color blindness. I remember now. I think we did watch this together as a stream. It wasn't T1J. It was someone else talking about how you can't, like you can't, to be colorblind is to effectively be racist. But PragerU was arguing the opposite point. PragerU was arguing that if you are not colorblind, that's a weird term. If you know what I mean. Brain immediately thought of a fucked up colorblind joke. Got that from Bad Bunny, as you probably realize at that point we have a very similar sense of humor. Yeah, I like Bad Bunny. Anyway. I've almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the N-word's greatest stumbling block, and I feel weird anyway, looking at that word, anyway. Is his stride towards freedom is not the white citizens councillor or the Ku Klux Klan, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. Yes. PragerU is arguing the opposite as usual. Yeah, like the point PragerU was making was that, thank you for the head pats broken. That's not the point that PragerU was making, but the point that they were making was that to be a good person, you should judge people by the content of their character, which of course that is what MLK was saying, but the problem is there are a lot of people whose character is not... We're not at the point as a society where... Hello, Ember, how you doing? I'll get a flex in and a hydrate. We're not at the point as a society where we can purely judge people on their character alone, right? Or, at the very least, we can't be colorblind because the content of a lot of people's character is that they're fucking racist. The shit PragerU puts out targeted at children is reprehensible. Oh god, it really is. Oh, I got guns. I got... Guns and lats. Look at my lats, dude. Fuck. No, not legitimately colorblind. Like the idea of color blindness as a race issue. As in, I don't see color. I only see people for who they are. And it's like, that doesn't really work when there are legitimate racial issues, racially divisive issues still existent in the system today. PragerU is always wrong. It's a digital axiom. It really is. Sorry, I need to bring your attention to this cat again. I just need to bring your attention to this little cat. Look at his little skulls and his little robe. Look him. Him baby. At least he's not fucking everything in the house. This is what happens when the first remotely healthy sleep you've had. To be colorblind is to be ignorant of the intricacies of racial relations and injustices, and loops back around to being racist. Yes, basically yes. So there are people who think that being colorblind is to be racially progressive. I don't see people by the color of their skin. I see them for the content of their character. But you can try that, and you can be that kind of person for sure. And you could argue that you are a good person for not judging a person based on their skin color. I mean, yeah, okay, fine. But to treat the system we live in as not racist is flagrantly racist itself. Hello, Snaily. I'm looking snaily good. I'm glad. I hope so. I hope I'm looking snaily today. Yeah. Anyway. That's just a thing. That's a thing. There we go. We did the public schools thing. We've got a lot of Aussie news here tonight, actually. But here's something. Who wants to talk about gamer shit? Actually, hang on. Before we do gamer shit, it's noticing the skin color but not being racist with it, which I think a lot of people act like that anyway. Before we do gamer shit, I want to look at this clip which is going around. I don't know what this is about. I have no idea what we're getting into.
With a woman?
No.
So how are you telling other people how to behave towards women when you yourself have not had any actual physical, interaction with them in a romantic capacity, or in fact in any capacity where you uphold them in a way that treats them with respect? I mean, if you're out here arguing that women are basically half the value of, well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, in fact, because that's not right. Mm. But, if you are looking to some other regimes around the world that do think that women are half the value of a man, I have to question what kind of a person who's had no experience with women is in a position to basically promote these ideas.
Well, I'm having an experience with a woman right now, and I've had lots of experiences with women in my life, not romantically per se, but I've talked to enough women. I've been in, I've known enough women to know sort of what's going on.
With a woman?
No.
So what is this? What is the context of this? I saw this clip earlier, and I mean, yeah, kudos to her for calling him out. Who is this little shit? Who is this guy? He's 23. Dude, I would have guessed 43 at the youngest. Holy shit. What happened just now? What did I just witness? She's an asshole, but she's got a... Who is this iCell? Is that Nick Fuentes? Is that who that is? Okay. Okay, yeah. Alright, I get it. I know of him. I don't know much about him, but I know of him. Looks like he's constantly on the verge of doing a hate crime. Major figure in the Groiper movement. Yeah, I'm still not 100% sure what Groipers are, but, I guess I've apparently got ads turned off for Eurogamer.net. I know of Groipers. Let's look into that after we do this article. I just wanted to look at that clip. If you want to look at someone relatively young that looks 30 years old, to look up Philip Amthor. Let's have a Google really quickly. Good lord, how old is this guy? Okay, hang on. Born 1992. Holy shit, you're not wrong. Radio then. Yeah. Young German legislator. Okie doke. We'll look up what Groiper is. We'll get a breakdown of what that is shortly. He looks like someone who accidentally grabs the side of your tit from your torso when you lift something above your head. Ooh. Oh. I don't want to vomit on stream. Come on.
Basic. Hey. Abby, I know you said you were going to discuss a gamer topic, but please remember, gamer words are never acceptable.
Damn it, fine, Haley, no gamer words, I promise. Thank you so much, by the way, for the 100 bits. Let's have a look at this. U.S. lawmakers announced bill to prohibit bot scalping of high-demand goods, so everyone has a fair chance of buying popular products at reasonable prices. Politicians in the US have announced a new legislative bill named the Stopping Grinchbots Act after the Dr. Seuss character that stole Christmas, which seeks to curtail the scalping of high-demand toys and goods. Yes, I just referred to him as Dr. Seuss. I don't know where I heard that pronunciation, but somebody told me it was actually the correct pronunciation. I know we're going to call him Dr. Seuss. Whatever. Fuck it. The bill, which specifically targets scalpers using bots to snap up online inventories of in-demand items in order to resell them at significantly higher prices, doesn't limit its focus to the video games industry, but it would certainly cover items such as consoles and graphics cards, both of which have been hit particularly hard by scalping as a result of supply chain issues worsened during the pandemic. Soyce like Joyce, yeah. These third-party sellers use bots to bypass security measures and manipulate online systems to buy toys. The press release announcing the bill explains, leading to some toys being almost impossible to buy online or in stores at retail prices, exacerbating shortages caused by stressed supply chains. At a time where families should be able to spend time with their loved ones, digital Grinch bots are forcing Americans to scour online sites in the hopes of finding an affordable gift or paying exorbitant prices for a single toy. Elden Ring Collector's Edition going for over $700 Australian on eBay. There is no reason it should be like that. I should have been able to pre-order Elden Ring and EB games, no problem. Well, I can pre-order the game, I can't pre-order the collector's edition, and I want that fucking collector's edition. Anyway, the announcement continues. These bots don't just squeeze consumers, they pose a problem for small businesses, local retailers, and other entrepreneurs trying to ensure they have the best items in stock for their customers. The bill, thanks PC Mag, has been proposed by Representative, I've scrolled down and I can't go back up, Paul Tonko, Democrat New York, Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat Connecticut, Senate Majority Leader Charles E. Schumer, Democrat New York, and Senator Ben Ray Lujan, Democrat New Mexico, and is intended to create a more level playing field so everyone has a fair chance of buying popular products at reasonable prices when shopping online. Let's hope the legislation is effective, yes. It follows a similar proposal, the Better Online Ticket Sales Act, the BOTS Act, that was signed into law in 2016, prohibiting the use of automated bots to acquire tickets for public events and making it illegal for scalpers to sell those tickets. There you go. The authors of the proposed legislation, which is supported by Consumer Reports, Consumer Federation of America, and the National Consumer League, say it would apply similar mechanisms used in the BOTS Act to ban bots by bypassing security measures implemented by online retail sites. I would hope there would be some other bill that would punish people who are already scalping. As it is right now, that should be made illegal, criminalized. PC Mag notes this isn't the first time such a bill has been proposed. Tonko, Blumenthal, and Schumer originally introduced the legislation in 2019, but its progress stalled in congressional committees. The lawmakers are clearly hoping the increased stock shortages resulting from current global supply chain issues will help drum up more support this time around. Here in the UK, stories of scalpers and scalping groups dominating the headlines, such as these, and these, have drawn the ire of MPs. Last December, a number of politicians put forward an early day motion in UK Parliament to prohibit the resale of consoles and PC parts that are significantly overpriced, similar to existing legislation for the secondary selling of tickets, while also proposing the resale of goods purchased by bots that could be made illegal. That motion has so far drawn cross-party support from 35 MPs, although perhaps crucially, no Conservative MPs have yet signed the proposal. How do they enforce this stuff? I'm not certain, honestly. Better security measures to prevent the botting. That would be the best bet, but, you know. In February this year, the Gaming Hardware Automated Purchase and Resale Bill 2019-21 intended to prohibit the automated purchase and resale of game consoles and computer components was introduced to the House of Commons by Scottish National Party MP Douglas Chapman. However, it is still yet to receive its second reading. February also saw the UK government's Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy respond to a petition signed by 15,500 people calling for a change in the law to tackle console scalping. The department said it had been discussing the issue of bulk purchasing of high-demand items like graphics cards and game consoles through automated bots with trade associations such as Yuki. We understand they are currently examining further actions they can take to prevent these behaviors, the government statement continued, and are working with their retailers to improve experiences for customers purchasing their products. With no government legislation in place, however, Yuki told Eurogamer it could only recommend that consumers stay patient, refuse to buy from scalpers, and buy from a trusted retailer for the time being. And fortunately, my GF and I managed to evade the scalpers as best we possibly could. Also, we'll take a look at your link majors. Mildred's Know Your Fash episode on Fuentes. Let's have a look at this, actually, because this could be quite good. I love Thought Slime. Anyway, this will give us a good little breakdown. What was I going to say? There was a point I was going to continue on, and I've completely forgotten what it was. Yeah, we managed to avoid the scalpers and get a PS5, because we started following a bunch of Twitter accounts that alerted us to when nearby retailers would have PS5s in stock for pre-order and things of that nature. We were fortunate enough to snap one up. Let's watch another Thought Slime video. Let's just make Thought Slime a regular part of the content here. Let's just integrate Thought Slime into the Rogue Room for some reason. I'm okay with this. Thought Slime based. Here we go. Why not? Why not? I've got like a whole bunch of things here. A whole bunch of news articles that we're probably not going to get to if we watch this Thought Slime video, because that'll be like eking right into the edge of the into the end of the stream. It's already 11:30. So we'll watch this, and yeah, NASA says huge potentially hazardous asteroid will break into Earth's orbit next week. Hell yeah. But sensationalized, obviously. Unlike the usual Thought Slime in chat, I feel like, is that why Thought Slime's channel is named Thought Slime? Because there are people out there who have who their thoughts are slime. Is it similar to like Shoe on Head's Brainlet channel? Just an insult. Praise Lord Oculot. That's not a poll. Here we go. I can't spell with these stupid gloves on. These are so annoying. There you go, vote. I got these stupid things with the chains. You must to bed to have a good one, Sil. Anyway, let's keep watching. Let's start watching. Let's watch a Thought Slime, shall we? Okay, let's go.
Content warning. This episode is all about a far-right extremist. So if you're sensitive to discussions about violence or hate speech, this might be a difficult watch for you.
Fascists!
Fascists. The worst guys.
I'm pretty sure the root of the word fascist and the root of the F slur are the same. Just a fun fact.
We talk about them a lot on the left, but we tend to paint with a pretty broad brush. We like to think of fascists as all thinking the same, behaving the same, or more or less being simple to recognize. It's ironic, however, given the fascist tendency to despise diversity, that there's a wide-ranging diversity of thought among different fascist groups. If we expect all fascists to act alike, that allows fascists that act differently to operate unnoticed. Welcome to Know Your Fash, where we take a closer look at a specific fascist or group of fascists to see what makes them goose-step. It's my hope that by shining a light on these creeps, we can understand how they think and operate a little better so that we're more equipped to fight them and anyone else they inspire. To put it simply, fascism is authoritarian and xenophobic.
So, it is a bit of a lengthy thing. You just mentioned as a resource on Fuentes' history. A lot of his own material has disappeared off public sites after his series of bans. There we go. But F-word is cool and good. Being fash is not. Yeah, true. Being a F-word is cool and good. Yes, it is. I'm glad that I'm an F-slur, honestly. It's fun.
Paleo-ultranationalism. That's a lot of $5 words, so to explain, a fascist believes the following. Their national, ethnic, or religious group is superior to all others. At one point, their national, ethnic, or religious group was at the height of its power, and now is in decline, due to the corrupting, degenerative influence of outsiders.
Sorry, my camera's in the way.
In order to regain that power, they must return to the old ways. And finally, the world is a stage of perpetual conflict, in which the strong destroy the weak. Therefore, strong and usually dictatorial leadership
kind of have a crush on Thought Slime, to be honest. I mean, it's completely understandable.
Needed to return society to its full glory. Today we'll be discussing Nick Fuentes, a far-right streamer and provocateur. He runs a daily stream called America First, and up until relatively recently, was among the most popular and profitable streamers on the DLive streaming platform, where...
Do you remember when PewDiePie made a deal with DLive for a bit there? Just bringing that up casually for no reason.
He had to retreat after he was banned from almost every other streaming platform. He's a key figurehead of the Groyper movement, a loosely defined collection of far-right weirdos who identify themselves with this particular internet bullshit. Internet bullshit is very central.
A fascist was on the fascist streaming site, you say. Very curious.
To Fuentes' brand. His particular shtick couldn't work anywhere else. His rhetoric is so thoroughly saturated with semi-ironic, perpetually online, nihilistic nonsense that it's virtually impenetrable to anyone but the shittiest of shitposters. Listening to the contents of Fuentes' speech might lead one to think he is completely inconsistent, constantly contradicting himself and backpedaling every statement he makes until you're not sure what, if anything, he believes. But
there's a fascist stream site. A lot of people have argued DLive is basically a fash stream site. It's one of those places where the rules don't really apply in the way they do on Twitch, if you know what I mean. And I mean, this is the thing, is like Twitch has a pretty wide variety, a pretty big diversity of politically themed content, lots of different opinions on this website. But there are some people who are too extreme even for like YouTube and Twitch and all that, because they generally think hate speech bad, actually.
You knowing the particulars of what he believes is irrelevant to Fuentes' goals, which are...
And for the record, sorry Thoughts Line for pausing on such an unflattering frame there. If you or any of these platforms, any of the most major mainstream social media platforms, content creation platforms, dare to strike you down and say, listen, the stuff you're saying is entirely too extreme, then they will pull out the old free speech card. It's like, oh, this platform's restricting my free speech. Big tech is stepping down on all of us. The real fascists are Twitter and YouTube. Kind of ridiculous when, you know, meanwhile, these people who are putting this content out there are literally calling for the deaths of minorities en masse and such.
Pretty simple. To mainstream discussions of taboo topics such as white nationalism, Holocaust denial, queerphobia, and of course, fascism.
Yeah, free speech is always a fascist dog whistle. Never trust the phrase free speech.
To introduce them back into the conversation, even if just to refute them. And on some level, this video and videos like it are playing into his hands. His enormous, disproportionate hands.
Whoa. Terms of service, more like terms of fascism, am I right, patrons?
But it's such a common strategy of the far right that he warrants discussion either way. They do this a lot. They introduce talking points by way of convincing other people to refute them, thus giving those talking points airtime and the appearance of being just another idea in the ever-expanding marketplace of ideas.
Yes, allowing threats restricts the free speech of those people it targets. Yes, essentially. So to boil it down, like if we come back to the tolerance paradox thing, there can be no society that is truly tolerant of all ideas, because there are some ideas that are inherently designed to be intolerant. And if you have a society that tolerates those ideas can fester, can perpetuate, and can gain more traction. And as a result, what you have is a society that ends up becoming intolerant because those ideas have reached mainstream appeal and they gain political prowess and so forth. So in order to have a truly tolerant society, we need to be intolerant of effectively fascist ideas. We need to say, listen, we can't have true 100% round-the-clock free speech. Everyone has the capacity to say everything that they could possibly believe, because that's inevitably going to lead to some people with explicitly genocidal thought processes trying to spread that opinion to the masses, which again is just going to lead to an intolerant society. So there's basically no propensity for a truly tolerant society. We either have to be intolerant of intolerance, or we tolerate all intolerant ideas as well as the tolerant ones. And those intolerant ideas gain traction and things get massively, massively worse, which is kind of where we're at now, generally speaking. Yes, this is the paradox of tolerance. Yes, exactly. So, you know, where we're at now is like, because free speech is such a prominent dog whistle and a lot of people agree with the idea you should be able to say whatever. A lot of people think free speech means you're able to say whatever, which is not actually how it works, right? But the problem is, when you start punishing people for saying things, right? When you start punishing people for expressing certain ideas, even if those ideas are expressly fascist, right? Then you start to sow the seeds of doubt of the government, or sow the seeds of doubt of the society in which we live. People start to look at the society we're living in as its own slippery slope to fascism, right? So if we start legislating against hate speech, which to some extent there is legislation against hate speech, if I'm not wrong, free speech means the government can't arrest you for your opinions. But the society we live in doesn't need to tolerate your awful opinions, right? Feels like there's no such thing as a sustainable society. Like, so many human civs have aimed for that and it never lasts. Well, yeah. But, you know, whatevs. You were mistaken. I am part of the intolerant left, punches Nazi. Intolerance is like a pest, pretty much.
After all, we're just asking questions. For his part, Fuentes prefers to refer to himself as a campus conservative.
It's a journey on a destination.
I say this as a campus conservative.
I say this, we have to affirm we believe in total equality. We do not endorse Nazism or white nationalism or white separatism or anything like that. We are merely campus conservatives who want to see every race, every group protected under the law. That's what we want to see.
Couldn't really tell you what that means because he's not in college anymore. Maybe he was when he recorded this. I don't think he was because as near as I can tell, he didn't start this program, America First, until leaving Boston University because he was basically kicked out for attending Unite the Right. I'd love to confirm that, but it's very hard to find the first episode of America First because...
Also, I'm pretty sure freedom of speech protects you from the government, not the Justin. Also, like, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't freedom of speech mean you can criticize the government and not be arrested for it? Doesn't mean you can just say whatever you want, but... The issue there, of course, like with what happened with Jordan Peterson and his whole thing about the legislation that was going on. What is it, C-16? I think it was C-16, which would have punished people who basically misgender and dead name and so on and so forth. People. It was that kind of legislation, and Jordan Peterson used that as an opportunity to promote the idea of freedom of speech being restricted, you know, and given that that was a criticism of the government, he was technically allowed to do that. Literally, all American freedom of speech protects you can publicly criticize the government and not be arrested / imprisoned for it, which even then is like technically, like there are cases of people being arrested and imprisoned for it extrajudicially. Jordan, I will not be compelled to use your words. I will not be. I can't do the Kermit the Frog voice at the moment. Why did I go back to this?
It's no longer on YouTube or anywhere else you might find normal content. The earliest episode I can find is number 52 from November of 2017, and he seems to upload every weekday, so that timeline adds up. What I'm saying is, it's hard to get concrete information on this guy because most of his content ends up getting removed for hate speech. Either way, while he refers to himself as a campus conservative, it's pretty clear if you pay attention to what he says that his sympathies lie way farther right than just a normal conservative. Here he is saying he'd gladly march with Mussolini or Francisco Franco if they were alive today.
I don't know, man. If Antifa were marching down the streets and they were waving the banner of Benito Mussolini or Francisco Franco, I'd be joining them. Frankly. If Antifa was waving the banner of phalangism, if they were waving the banner of Franco, and they were saying, you know, Catholic fascism now, I would join them. I would become a part of Antifa.
So we certainly...
What the actual absolute fuck? Okay. Christ on a cock. Let me guess, he has questions about Jewish people, yeah.
He supports everything a fascist might support. He basically just said so. But he's hesitant to call himself a fascist, and here's him explaining why.
Why can you not be a white nationalist in 2019 today?
Oh, okay, hang on. Just before we go on any further, can somebody please go to this selfie here, this picture of mine, and just start harassing the living shit out of these fucking TERFs? Just everyone in chat now, just go brigade these cunts. I don't give a shit. Go give them hell, please. For the love of God, tell them to shut the fuck up. Anyway, continuing on. Every single one of you, go give them shit. Just go tell them how awful they are.
Why can you not talk about white identity politics?
Yeah, what the fuck? If Antifa was fascist, I would like them, right? Yeah.
Why can you not be authentically...
I'm literally calling for it. I'm calling to brigade them. Just do it.
Enjoy your membership.
Paul Squall, thank you for subscribing for 3 months in advance. You fucking legend, you. Thank you so much.
Right-wing and reactionary.
Just
why can you not identify as a fascist? Why can't you do
Yes, I want you to do it on your Twitter. What the... Let me go back a second. What? I'm talking over this dickhead. Don't have Twitter, but you can sub. I'll appreciate the sub. Making money off TERFs is what I love doing. Anyway, let's come back to this.
Right-wing and reactionary. Why can you not identify as a fascist? Why can't you do these things in 2019? So what is it specifically? Gee, what is it specifically about this guy? What is it specifically about the Nazis? They didn't just do mass murder. They weren't just totalitarian. They weren't just fascist. They weren't just right-wing. There was a very specific group that they went after. It was a very specific event that happened.
Do your NSFW Twitter if you feel safe doing it.
It's something that's illegal to question in like 13 or 19 or 20 different countries in Europe.
And maybe we really have to start asking ourselves, what's going on there? What's going on?
This is very much leaning into the Jewish question shit. Holy fuck, you weren't wrong.
According to a write-up in Right Wing Watch, although he agrees with white nationalism, he's hesitant to refer...
This is a guy. Like, this is a person. Holy shit.
...to himself as a white nationalist as well. Quote, "The reason I wouldn't call myself a white nationalist, it's not because I don't see the necessity for white people to have a homeland and for white people to have a country," Fuentes said. "It's because I think that kind of terminology is used almost exclusively by the left to defame. And I think the terminology and the labels that we use, I don't think that we can look at them outside of the context of their connotations in America." End quote.
Yeah, he literally just he's not mask off. He never wore a mask in the first place. Holy shit, dude.
This is a recurring pattern in Fuentes' rhetoric. His strategy is the careful management of optics. He's always extremely careful to, on paper, never actually say what he means, and to throw in little caveats that absolve him.
Hey, you can't do that. You can absolutely do that, Princess. Thank you so kindly for gifting subs to Lilith, Smellycat, Zenobi, Kendricks, and Asia. Asia? I guess that's Asia. Thank you so kindly for smashing my sub goal, you entire legend, you. Oh, a hype train is close. Who else wants to gift a sub? Who else wants to tip 100 bits? We could get a hype train going. I'll put the flashy lights on or something. I'll do something nice for you. Let me give you money. Yeah, give me money. Give me money to make me feel better about the fact that TERFs have commented on my cute live selfie. I bet you they're not even in my stream. What a bunch of losers. Why would you comment on a live post?
Enjoy your membership.
The Untamed Demon subscribing with Prime. There we go. Hype train going. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Enjoy. Thank you for that, Prime. Enjoy all of your ad-free viewing. Enjoy all of your what's it called? Enjoy your ad-free viewing. Enjoy your emotes. What else is there? There's more stuff to subbing, isn't there? I think. I don't know. There's ad-free viewing, there's emotes, there's the badge. You get a little badge, you get a cute badge. 100 bits, thank you, Retail
1 hearts.
Basic.
For the basic 100 bits. Oh yeah, true. Thank you, Ziwa. You get topped when you're a sub. The only place I'll do any topping is on Twitch. Alright, we got a level 3 hype train right off the bat. Metaxa, how you going? Thank you so kindly for joining us. Thank you so kindly, everybody, for the hype train so far.
Block those turfs.
Basic.
Block those turfs. I shouldn't I? Should just block them, honestly. I'm using it pronouns. I'm using she, it, yeah. I mainly use she at the moment, but, you know, there are certain circumstances where I use it, yeah. And I am trans. Yes, I am. We're watching a video about fascists at the moment. Can't even see half the responses on that tweet. They're the kind of people who will celebrate if they get blocked by a trans person, and they are notorious for using block lists themselves. Half the time, if I go into a thread that's been invaded by TERFs, I can't see most of the comments because they blocked me. Yes, I am the she-it. My voice has changed. Why do you people keep bringing up my voice? My voice sounds completely different to how it used to. Why do you people... What is your problem with my voice? Yeah, she-it. She-it. There was a funny gif. Somebody posted that funny she-it gif. I lost my she-it at that. I'm sorry. That's fucking hilarious. That's honestly just hilarious to me. As a she-it. Anyway. Level 3 hype train. Can we get to level 4? We got 2 minutes 56 seconds. Can we get... Oh yeah, let's put the lights on. Put the lights on. Flashy lights. By the way, I should do a new funding goal. Once I get my... There we go. See these lights over here? See the flashy strip? Do you see the flashy strip? Okay. The company that does my lights up here, Wiz, I just knocked that, sorry. They also do light strips. And if I get the Wiz light strips, I could connect those to the app on my phone and change all the lights at once. I think the total amount I would need to buy them is like $125. So I'd need a 2-meter light strip and a 1-meter extension to replace that strip. Right? I'm just thinking about it. I'm just thinking, you know, if I want my setup to be a little bit more...
Your gift to our patronage is most appreciated, friend.
Fucking Christ. That's not what I was getting at. I'm just theory crafting future developments for the stream. Anyway, Princess, thank you for gifting tier 1s to Crystal Faye, the Ferret King, June Fox, Polytac, and Nerps. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Your pronouns are Faye, they, she, but you're considering it and eventually it'd like to be a he, him, lesbian. Ooh, that's exciting. That is exciting. That's cool. Honestly, like, I've, and whoever banned that full, it wasn't, I don't think it was a ban, it was a delete. There we go. Anyway. Please stop asking dumb fuck questions. What you're saying is quite rude, but I get the feeling you know that. Yeah, I mean, I can tell what a sea lion is when I'm looking at it. Have I looked at the Amazon smart bulbs? You control their color from your phone. Honestly, I want to control the pronouns. I want to control the pronouns. We'll get back to Nick Fuentes in a second. Here you go. Oh, enjoy that one. Yeah, I work out. What of it, bitch? I want to control the lights off my PC from Lumia Stream, which is an app which you can use with Stream Deck. So I want to be able to press buttons on my Stream Deck to control the lights from my computer, not from my phone, right? So I'd rather not use more. But the thing is, Lumia can control Wiz lights, but the unfortunate thing is they can't seem to control them individually for whatever reason. So that's something I've got to work on. Anyway, let's continue watching. Thank you so much, Princess, for gifting 10 subs tonight. Good gravy. Like, let's just... Oh, wrong one. Let's put this over here for a sec. Let me bump that up. Please do not take this as an expectation. I am bumping my sub goal up, though. To 25, because holy shit. And I hope you feel better, Princess. You're sleepy and having sad feels. Yeah. Redeem more hugs if you could. Shay, thank you for redeeming hugs. Let's put this back into this. There we go. I've moved my sub goal over. Anyway. Your they, them used to be she, her as well, but don't anymore. We got hugs. Is Ziwa coming to get hugs, or should I go to Ziwa? Oh, these, you mean the chaos pronouns. Okay. We still got a bit of a hype train for 2 and a bit more minutes. Can we hit level 5? I'm going to go give my girlfriend a hug.
Basic.
Happy Crisis and Olaf for Abby Strong,
Dommy Butch made mommy less than 3.
Okay, ooh.
You wait.
Okay, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for hugs. Pardon? Patience is a virtue. Patience for hugs.
We're not very virtuous.
No, we are not. We're the least virtuous. We're a couple of F slurs, for God's sake. I mean, what virtue is there in that? Anyways. Hugs for Smudge? God, no. If I picked up Smudge to hug him right now, he'd probably try to fuck my armpit or something. Like, I don't trust that cat. Anyway, if you see the advertisement in chat, I have a ring that is the trans pride colors. You can't see the colors properly in the blue lighting, but I want to just like mention out of peace gear. Pardon? Yeah, if you get a lesbian ring. Fuck yeah, pride rings. It's a good ring. Click that link in chat. Go to Outer Peace Gear. Make sure you put your address details in correctly. Basically, I'm going to leave that in there for as long as ever. That timer alert. Forever, because they were really fucking cool. Honestly, support that store. That I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but they're really good. Go grab yourself a pride ring. They've got all sorts of different pride flag rings and hats. There's a trans flag hat that I really want. FFS? No, I haven't had FFS yet. It's too expensive. Here we go. My face looks pretty good. Possible, you think?
Facial fuckability syndrome.
I have facial fuckability syndrome, apparently. Yeah. Is there an autism pride ring? Ooh, that's a good idea. Is there a pride flag for autism? You're just gonna stare at me. Can I tell them about the thing with my sister?
Yeah.
She passed the other day.
I had no idea.
My sister had no idea. She passed. Yes, I am a trans girl with a trans girlfriend. Get over it. Whoa, mind blowing. And we were talking about changing names, right? And Maddie mentioned she wants to change her name and all that sort of thing. Legally, right? Legally. And how did the conversation go? Princess gifting another 5 subs.
Is most appreciated, friend.
Changing your name. What was your name before? It's like, I don't. You don't really ask that one question.
Yes, you don't really ask that. Who said you don't really ask it?
Did.
I said you don't really ask that sort of question.
I think you should
And then from there, my sister clicked in. And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know." So she passed.
I've seen her quite a few times.
Yeah. Princess, thank you for gifting some tier 1s to Raw, Starlight Eyes, I think that's how it's pronounced, Jerry Bonglord, Haggard Grin, and Namaroff. Thank you so much. Broken, there you go. Here's one of these for the hype train. Thank you so much. It was wild. I'm jealous. But of course, I'm not going to pass to my sister. She knows who I am. I've grown up with the bitch. She passed? What was the test on? Gender. You got an F on your gender test. You failed. F for fail. Queer French trans girl. Call that a faggot. I'm allowed to say it. There's a flex again for you with the chains. Enjoy ASMR stream.
Don't click on that.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. F4 redacted. What? Yeah, I'm nearly out. We'll finish watching this this video reacting to Nick Fuentes. More, please. I have a little slave that gets me water. Nick Cuntwez. Anyway, so many brothers have permanently moved to Europe, leaving only their sisters behind. I thought about doing that, actually. Like, if it ever comes up that there's somebody I've met but only casually, and I get reintroduced to them, and they're confused, it's like, I'm sorry, I don't recognize you. You're the... Who are you? Let's just say, like, my sister is reintroducing me to somebody, and they're just like, thank you, sweetie.
Oh, I'm the slave.
Yeah. Anyway, I've thought about doing that whole thing where, like, if I ever get introduced to an acquaintance again by say my sister or my mother or whoever, and they're just like, oh, who's this one? And I'll be like, oh, I'm the twin sister of the one you met a long time ago. What? 33% of a hype train, level 5. We don't even have any music going. She's just like, she's thirsting over here or something. Or she's trying to make me thirsty. I don't know. We got 2 minutes left. Can we get to over 100% hype train? Somebody else. Somebody who's not Princess. I'm putting you on, what's it called? Probation. Probation? I don't know. I don't know. Just give me more money. I deserve it because I'm broke. And I want to go to Melbourne. Well, I'm not broke at the moment, actually. I'm pretty well off. Well, not pretty well off. That's a lie, too. I've got money enough so that I won't starve this week.
Another round.
Hey, Carmen, thank you for the 20 bits. It's weird, you know. Who else turns down charity door knockers because you're generally broke? Anyone else? Anyone else do that? I hate it. I think I have a legitimate reason to hate my door being knocked on by people who could be getting their funding from those who aren't poor. But, you know, here we are. Anyway, gonna continue watching the video. I'll see you soon. Anyway. Shall we keep going? We got a minute left on that. You hate ahem witnesses. Yeah, that kind of thing. Anyway, let's continue watching The Thought Slime.
Culpability if anyone acts on his provocations. He'll say he disapproves of violence of any kind. But then in the same breath, he'll say that all legitimate options for dealing with his enemies have been expended. So, what else can people be expected to do? He'll say he believes that the Holocaust happened.
And, the Holocaust happened, of course, we know that. And the mass shootings have all happened. I mean, I believe everything the government says.
But then go on to imply...
Of course, the Holocaust happened. We know all that.
That he's only saying that so the government won't kill him.
We are not...
So here's the thing. Here's what I'm curious about with Mildred. About with Thought Slime. I think I watched a video recently where Mildred picked the name Mildred on. Just like, they literally said something to the effect of like, I'm going to choose the name Mildred because Mildred is a silly name and I am a silly person. And I quite liked that. And Mildred being gender fluid, like any all pronouns, generally publicly mask presenting, but also tends to be wearing makeup in videos, you know, sort of just gender bending GNC kind of thing, kind of vibe. Is Mildred like the permanent name now, or is that only like still goes by both Mildred and Matt? Okay, there we go. And any pronouns is correct. Yeah, I knew that one. All right, thank you so kindly, everybody, for getting us to a level 4 hype train. That was legendary. Thank you mostly to Princess. Let's put our lights back to normal. Does this sound familiar? Let's put that over there. There we go. Was told I have moobs today. Did they mean these? My massive fucking... I'm not going to show this, but Rin has posted 4 pictures of her massive titties. Which, cool. My super stuffed up milkies, my honka donka doinky boinkies, my fucking fabric stretching, wind flapping, gravity welling sex mounds. Do you mean these super duper ultra goddamn motherfucking tits? I'd need those. I think you follow Rin on Instagram. The name's familiar. Do I follow Rin Vixen? No, I don't. Okay, weird. Anyway, like 2 little fat boys wrestling under a blanket.
Not dangerous, all right? We are totally within the system. Don't kill me. Don't...
So hopefully you see the game being played here. If anyone calls him out on his rants about how there has to be some reason why you're not allowed to question the Holocaust, he can point to the part of the speech where he says explicitly that he believes the Holocaust happened. How can they call him a Holocaust denier? He said it happened. Why, it's slander to imply he's a Holocaust denier. But his far-right buddies get the message, because these statements are always couched in the language of having to explain them to his powerful enemies. People who want to kill, or perhaps more realistically, silence him. Which sends the message loud and clear, hey, I have to say this to cover my ass, but you know I don't believe it, right? Likewise, if anyone calls him out for his repeated calls for violence against elected officials, he can say, hey, I said I don't condone violence. However, you can clearly see how he behaves when he thinks there will be no consequences. Fuentes was present at the storming of the U.S. Capitol building on January 6th, and while he didn't enter the building himself, according to a write-up from the Southern Poverty Law Center...
What was my Spotify Wrapped submissive and breedable?
Fuentes said in a speech to the insurrectionists, keep moving towards the Capitol. It appears we are taking the Capitol back. Break down the barriers and disregard the police. The Capitol belongs to us. A few days later, Fuentes had this to say on a
few days later, and then up in the corner it said, and actually the next day.
Stream about the events of January 6th.
When was this video posted? Earlier this year, I would say. April 10th.
I'm not advocating violence or, you know, people killing or anything else like that.
People killing.
I'm not advocating for a revolution or an insurrection because that would be illegal. And also because we're not there yet. You know, as evidenced by yesterday. Pay close attention to his phrasing there. I'm not advocating violence, people killing, revolution, or insurrection because it is illegal. Because we're not there yet. Again, if a journalist or the cops or whoever were to accuse Fuentes of advocating violence, he can point to the part of the speech where he says he doesn't. But you know, on a practical basis, because it's illegal and we don't want to get in trouble and we're not ready for the violence I definitely do not condone, wink. Make no mistake, Fuentes' goal, even if he's cagey about saying it out loud, is a white nationalist revolution. He wants to foment a return to segregation, to stop all...
I'm still confused by the term foment. I feel like this word just came up a few months ago. I know it didn't, but a lot of people use the term foment. Want to change that bot pronouns message? I will soon. I'm very, very lazy is the important thing. I am incredibly, incredibly lazy. I might also need to update my pronouns here on this. So there's so many little things that I don't ever get around to doing because I can't be fucked.
Immigration to the United States.
I will.
To criminalize abortion and homosexuality and just generally turn the United States into some kind of tradcath autocracy.
Foment has been used by talk radio chuds for ages. Sounds like advocating for violence with extra steps, which basically it is. Couldn't a mod edit it for you? Not unless I sent them like my entire chatbot, what's it called? I go by she, it now. Yeah.
See. Guess I have to...
Generally she's fine most of the time. Because like I do tend to have this attitude, like I like it for myself personally. I'm not fussed if people refer to me as she. You know, that's kind of like the main vibe. You know, I'm generally feminine. I'm generally she, her, you know. But there are situations where it feels more appropriate, which is, you know, more accurately, the she, it. Hello, NZ, how's it going?
Explain what a tradcath is. Tradcaths, or traditional Catholics, are utter fucking dorks who believe that the Catholic Church lost legitimacy because of, or at the very least...
So ferment, instigate, or stir up an undesirable... Oh, there we go, that helps. I mean, I always gathered that was the vibe. I always gathered that was the definition. But yeah, I suppose my consumption of content has shifted more political in the past year or two, I think. Before that, I was definitely a person who didn't really give much of a fuck about anything political like this. So I'm hearing new terminology all the time. I'm learning a whole lot as I'm going along, you know.
Made a mistake with Vatican II, a set of proclamations by the Vatican in the 60s intended to bring the Church's dogma in line with modern values. They instituted such unforgivable reforms as speaking languages other than ecclesiastical Latin during Mass, admitting Protestants were Christian and also not their enemies, and most heinously, of course, admitting that the Jewish people do not personally bear responsibility for the murder of Christ. I guess I should also point out that Fuentes is partially of Mexican descent, and I don't know how he squares that with his anti-immigration beliefs.
Fuentes advocates against the degeneracy of the LGBTQIA+ community, calls for their death from his conservative, Catholic, and fascist base. He also had a months-long relationship with a fascist cat boy known for doing sex streams and getting Trump supporters to chant Nazi phrases. Like the other day I learned libs and libertarians are the same thing. Yeah, no. At least it's not it, she. Where's that? Latin during Catholic Mass is such a D&D mood, though.
Particularly when it seems they definitely...
Yeah. What's happening? We're just watching Thought Slime break down Nick Fuentes for us.
Extend to Mexicans, according to the Washington Post. In a video after the August shootings in El Paso that left 22 dead, including Mexicans and Mexican Americans, Fuentes declared, "The easiest way for Mexicans to not get shot and killed in Walmart is for them..."
I am dealing with a very legitimate itching problem at the moment, which I need to sort out medically because it's irritating the living shit out of me.
Them to not fucking be here. I assume it says fucking. The Washington Post censored it. I assume fucking was the expletive used. Fuentes says that he wants to return to a sort of muscular right position, where the far right advocates for what it wants directly, rather than couching it in terms of what is acceptable to the mainstream right. For example, on the subject of immigration...
Why can we not be in favor of, immigration, or rather being against immigration in itself? Why is that we have to make economic arguments against immigration and not demographic arguments against immigration? Well, because it really all goes back to these negative connotations. And why can we not be muscularly right-wing on social issues?
He's also not...
Does he even lift?
Really shy about who he thinks represents a muscular right-wing type of figure. Guess who it is? Guess. Go ahead and guess, of course. It's our old pal, Adolf Hitler.
You might hear a question like, why is it not okay to be a fascist? And you would say, well, of course, because fascism is wrong. Fascism is authoritarian or something like this, but it's okay to be a communist in 2019. So understand where I'm coming from. It's okay to say you're a socialist. It's okay to say you're a communist. It's okay to wear a Che Guevara t-shirt. It's okay to wear a hammer and sickle. So
crowdsourcing, making fun of Fuentes is your favorite pastime. No, he doesn't lift. That's why he got the shit knocked out of him in that one meme vid. Lol. Lamau. Crowdsourcing a reward for your sub. I'm going to leave that to other people who are more informed than I am. Folks, go away. Crowdsource a reward for the sub. What kind of self-care should it do?
When I say why is it not okay to be a fascist, I mean this in the sense that it's okay to be many other strains of extremist ideology. Perfectly acceptable and permissible. And by the way, it has nothing to do with death count either, right? We know that Mao Zedong killed 70 million people. I could wear a Mao Zedong t-shirt in public and not worry about getting killed. Can I wear a swastika t-shirt in public? No.
You see, everybody, the reason that people consider the Holocaust is somehow unique in terms of mass murder or one of the worst events in history...
Adolf Hitler was definitely not muscular, yes. Certainly a meth addict, though.
Is because powerful forces control the media and government. Pretty weird that you can identify as one of these other extremist ideologies, but not as a fascist. Now, I'm not a fascist.
Okay, but don't actually wear a Mao t-shirt. Yeah, don't actually.
It just seems really weird that the Nazis are singled out like that, doesn't it? And to address this talking point in the plainest terms...
I mean, a lot of people like to meme about being a Maoist because of the execution of landlords, which is fucking based. But there's a lot more nuance to that discussion than just landlords dead lol. Please think before you wear a Mao t-shirt.
Possible. Self-identifying as a Nazi demonstrates an intent to commit exterminationist violence in a way that other extremist ideologies do not. Fuentes kind of glosses over this very obvious point that the stated intent of Nazis is to exterminate the Jewish people, because it doesn't fit into the narrative of Nazism being somehow sort of unfairly maligned position suppressed by the dastardly Jews who control the American government, media, and education system. Now, if I believed that mass murder were inherent to communism or socialism or whatever, I don't, because I'm not a complete head-ass dipshit, I wouldn't then argue, well,
have I mentioned I love Thought Slime? Oh no, I paused on 13:14. If I'd only paused 2 seconds earlier. You can't even see the timestamp, it doesn't matter.
It's unfair that they get to argue for mass murder and we don't. My argument would be more along the lines of, hey, don't you think those guys shouldn't be advocating mass murder? That seems like a problem for me, a person who enjoys living. Furthermore, any self-described communist, socialist, or anarchist who starts arguing for the mass extermination of a religious, ethnic, or national minority is just as much my enemy and the enemy of any other socialist, communist, or anarchist as Nick Fuentes is. You'll notice, though, for some reason, those ideologies don't tend to attract as many...
The kind of snark I welcome. I love Thought Slime for snark. It's honestly the best. Like, if you want, like, good, snarky, leftist political commentary, here you go.
Fans of literal...
how are people like this able to advocate for such ideologies when they know they will be taken care of on the day of the rope? Which we watched the Thought Slime video on the day of the rope, yeah. I honestly don't know, and this is the thing, there were the good ones in Nazi Germany as well. So that whole scheme had its own share of people exactly like Nick Fuentes. ACAD, all cops are douches.
Exterminationist genocide. In fact, much of their squabbling comes down to accusing other...
No, I just put a bunch of ant powder out the front of my house to kill all the ants. I'm not in favor of ants.
Other groups of genocide, because among those groups, and indeed most non-Nazi groups, it is taken for granted that genocide is self-evidently evil. Weird, isn't it? I wonder if that has anything to do with each group's public perception. Fuentes believes that the state should be used to force society to conform to his moral standards.
The law is the instructor. The law must come in, enough of this libertarian, individualist, constitutional crap.
You know what vibe he gives me? George McFly from Back to the Future, like at the beginning. Well, like, yeah, just George McFly. Who's seen Back to the Future? If George McFly was a fascist... George McFly, for anyone who hasn't seen Back to the Future for some fucking reason, what are you doing, is an absolute dweeb of the highest order. Nobody respects him for any reason. He's a fucking loser. Right? He's not a bad guy. He's just a fucking loser that nobody likes. And this is just fascist George McFly. This is the timeline where George didn't get Lorraine and he just skewed down a pipeline of fascist thinking to cope.
We need the state to go in there and force the society to be the way we want it to be.
And since, as we've discussed, he stated that he and his compatriots are not yet ready for revolution, it's not difficult to put two and two together on how the state would behave after the revolution he imagines. Abortion would be illegal, and doctors who perform it would be jailed, and so would women who receive them.
If doctors are facing 100 years in jail, if they perform an abortion, they're going to think twice about performing an abortion. And you know what?
Oh, fucking yikes, dude. Jesus, are we serious? With the reproductive rights thing? Oh.
If a woman was...
Adolf, you are my density. Curse George McFly.
Facing 100 years, if she got an abortion outside of a doctor, she would also think twice about getting an abortion. That's how these things work.
Race mixing would, of course, be illegal.
Would you say that me having sex with my dog is the same thing as me having sex with a black man?
No. But they would both be degenerate.
Against interracial relationships.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that should be promoted. I don't think it's...
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead. Let's just go on to the next topic.
I like the laughing. Yeah. That'll be really funny when you...
Oh, look, it's a panel of white men, and I'm covering up Sargon of Akkad. I forgot he existed.
You guys are bred out of...
It is an insult to George McFly. Yeah, true. It always circles back to eugenics and controlling women. They don't have an original thought in their brains.
Existence.
Homosexuality, transgenderism, and the promotion thereof, i.e. any public advocacy for the rights of queer people, would be illegal.
We can at once say that we oppose homosexuality. We oppose people that promote it. I don't think Milo promotes it, by the way, which is a good thing. We're not saying we're against everybody. We're simply saying if you're out there saying there's nothing wrong with it, it's fine, pushing it on kids.
What's Asmongold doing there? Good fucking question, honestly.
The normalization, and not acknowledging the connection between that and other deviancy, pedophilia, disease.
Well, I mean, he is friends, I think, with Hassan Piker. I'm not 100% on that one. At the very least, I'm sure they were on that show together, so they're aware of each other, which might have led to that.
All the rest, that kind of rhetoric must be condemned.
Pornography and drugs would be illegal.
If that doesn't happen, they're going to go to the therapist and get prescribed Ritalin and destroy their brain and turn them into a school shooter or something. If that doesn't...
What the fuck? Ritalin turns you into school shooters? What the fuck is this take? For half a second, I thought I'd been on the panel. Good lord, no, don't put me in that nightmare.
Doesn't happen, their friends will introduce them to some kind of drug. If that doesn't happen, you can be sure, it's guaranteed.
You've been low-key scared to watch this video considering what it will do to my algorithm. Quite frankly, if it gives me more dumb shit to react to, I'm okay with this. I specifically watch content that harms me in some way.
That their mind will be destroyed by social media or video games.
Because I can react to it.
Or pornography, that much is virtually a guarantee. It's so ubiquitous at this point.
All immigration would be ceased in order to preserve the racial demographics of the United States.
Oh yeah, far-right extremists are the ones that turn into school shooters. Yeah, pretty much uniformly, yeah. How often have you read those manifestos and they contain just literal Nazi virtue signaling?
I say this all the time, but I don't get it. How do people believe that we could take shitty people and bring them into a great country and the great country gets better? How does that work? Right?
All liberal.
What? What? That's such a what? That's such a brainlet take. Holy shit. I mean, we can't be surprised. It's Nick fucking Fuentes.
Liberal lawmakers and insufficiently fascist conservative lawmakers would be killed, which means just about everybody.
Yeah, Nick Fuentes is Mexican, Gypsy Crusader is Roma, and Jontron is Irani, and they're all somehow white supremacists. Again, the good ones. Blair White is a Republican. When Republicans have routinely been making anti-trans legislation for a good while now, and she still votes for them.
Who works in the government would be killed.
What can you and I do to a state legislator besides kill him? Although we should not do that. I'm not advising that, but I mean, what else can you do, right?
He'd also have
fucking yikes, holy shit.
Civil liberties stripped away from groups he doesn't like. He's claimed in the past that the First Amendment doesn't apply to Muslims and immigrants, which is a fair reading of the amendment as long as you don't look at the words it contains, because those say the...
So hang on, so just so we're clear, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right to the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
The literal opposite of that. Other than that, though, fair dues. And all of that is just the stuff he'll admit to out loud. And keep in mind that this guy is obsessed with optics and making sure he can pretend to be a run-of-the-mill conservative. Given his abiding hatred for Jewish people and the conspiracies he pushes around them, and his apologetics for the Nazis, I don't think it's uncharitable to assume he'd also be in favor of some sort of state violence against Jewish people. And if all of that sounds like an impossibly harsh, cruel, and miserable way to live, you have to also understand that Fuentes does not see himself as being subject to the rules he wishes to enforce on the rest of society. Race mixing is of course degenerate and wrong, but he's keen to point out that he himself is of mixed race. Homosexuality is degenerate, and it means you're not a real Christian, and you will go to hell, but hey, jerk into transgender porn if women aren't fucking you.
Are gay, yeah, are gay. I've always maintained are gay, of course. You have sex with a man, it's gay. There's no getting around that. Now that said, it's, we're in times where the women are not really meeting their obligations. So I'm not saying you're not... Look, if you have sex with a you're gay.
And there's also the...
Fucking Christ. At the risk of being an Amerinerd, the Constitution is a really beautifully written piece of legislation. It's fairly short, too, isn't it?
Matter of his ironic love of catboys. He had a channel in his Discord dedicated to catboys. He had a questionably sexual relationship with a streamer named Catboy Kami, or as he was known at the time.
Yeah, not really meeting their obligation. I mean, are we really surprised at for any reason whatsoever that this guy is a huge yikes of an individual?
Loli Socks, referring to lolicon, type of hentai for pedophiles.
I did a stream with Lolly Socks. He's now known as Catboy Cammy. He changed his name. I advised him to change his name because, you know, lolly socks, not great optics. You know, the stream...
Not great optics. Not Catboy Kami, apparently. Well, who would have guessed they can't deny how hot we are? Yeah, women aren't meeting their obligations, so basically to become a walking breeding machine.
In question, lolly socks, Catboy Kami is not a homosexual. You know, that's just not true. So, if anybody can find any evidence to the contrary on any of these points, feel free to share it. But, you know, for the most part, it's been a lot of lies.
Yeah, for real? This guy? There's no evidence this guy is gay. This guy? Nothing. Nothing gay about this guy. Straight as an arrow, obviously. And he's a great role model. Based on his...
fuck. The blackface. Holy shit. Fashion into queers and unholy reality. Yeah.
Blatant hypocrisy, you might think.
White supremacists that jerk it to trans women and femboys, what is new? I mean, are we allowed to bring out the egg? Are we allowed to, like, egg speculate? Speculate?
Fuentes is just an opportunistic...
He's just a pedo, yeah. So they're totally okay with pedophiles. There's a lot of them in the Conservative Party.
Grifter. Someone who saw the writing on the wall and knew he could make a quick buck. And there's definitely an element of that for sure. It's unclear to me the degree to which he believes what he's saying and the degree to which he says things for ideological reasons or for personal gain. Who knows?
Yeah, white supremacists are absolutely fine with pedos. They love them. They love them as far as they can... they love them until they can use them as a weapon for whatever reason. And then they will frame the pedo as though they're somehow affiliated with some kind of leftist cause. You know, that pedophile was actually a transgenderist.
Knows. But one thing is clear. Fuentes wants to remove the taboo around discussing...
Yeah, true. Don't like the egg speculation as it goes towards the where their own oppressors... Yeah, true. Yeah. Dumb thing to say. I retract that. Hitler was an incestuous pedo, so yeah. And they love to suggest that Hitler... Either they're saying we should criticize the idea that Hitler was the bad guy, really, or they try to insinuate that Hitler and the Nazis were leftists.
Horrible and dangerous ideas like fascism, anti-Semitism, white nationalism, and all sorts of other hateful, destructive objectives. He wants to present himself as a normal, albeit controversial, conservative who's just asking questions. And every time he is platformed by some Republican rube like Michelle Malkin, he's one step closer to being able to sway the public perception of fascism towards legitimacy. People sometimes ask why I spend time talking about fascists at all. Aren't I just giving them attention? And Fuentes is a perfect example of why. If people aren't reminded who he is and what exactly he stands for, he becomes just another voice in the crowd, some nondescript talking head in a suit. But he's not. He's a dangerous ideologue, and if he and people like him are allowed to weasel their way into the mainstream, it presents a very credible threat to you and the people you love. And just for the record, if you're a conservative, know that he's not going to stop at just the leftists or the BLM activists or the...
Wait. Honestly, at this point, you don't see the difference between Nazism and conservatism. I mean, yeah. Conservatism seems like just, again, the slippery slope thing to Nazism. Humans are our own oppressors in a way that just depends on what arbitrary boundaries you divide them by. Pretty much. Like a few very specific groups got into power and dictated the rules that everybody else has to live by. And now as a result, we're coping with that unfortunate mechanism of the society in which we live.
Democrats or the feminists or whoever else you think low-key kind of deserves.
Or the Karlin Poroshenko thing. I wanted to look at the Karlin Poroshenko thing.
To get got. You are an ally of convenience for him and others like him. He wants to see you dead as much as he wants to see me dead. So you better hope he doesn't get us, because if he does, you're next. Kind of a heavy one this week. Sorry about that. As
usual, go and subscribe to ThoughtSlime because we like ThoughtSlime. We like Mildred. We like that whole thing. Well, I'm not calling Mildred a thing. That's the channel's good. We're saying the channel's good. Can we look at the Karlin Poroshenko thing really quickly? I reckon we should. Do I have it? I think I have it. It's in my bookmarks. Karlin Poroshenko was Karlin Poroshenko the leftist or alleged like socialist or whatever, who became a Trump supporter because she went to a conservative rally and they were nice to her? Just to give you a bit of a synopsis of what's going on there. Looks like PragerU's latest Why I Left the Left star, Karlin Poroshenko, got cancelled by the woke right for her Hitler Went to Heaven take. Here's this. So she's recently... The Rally That Changed My Mind is the video, which we could react to, honestly, but maybe we could do that tomorrow or something. Oh, no, this was July 27, 2020. And then everyone who died in the Holocaust choose to die in the Holocaust before they were ever born because they collective wanted to understand the experience of ultimate oppression. That's why Hitler went to heaven. Yes, I'm going to call in just a moment. And then, I've been cancelled by the woke conservative mob who can't handle I'm not a Christian. I don't know what the hell's going on in this person's head. Why are these people so desperate to reframe who Hitler was? I'm so confused. Like, here's people commenting on it. Here's a reply to the people commenting on it. Oh, yes, and this thing. We'll call it after this one. By the way, yes, I did choose to be mobbed on Twitter. I was trolling the conservative Christian right for days. The entire point was to demonstrate they were same as the woke left. You all proved my point. And for the leftists who joined in, you proved my point too. Well done. Oh, the enlightened centrist. All sides are bad. Hitler committed suicide. Now I'm pretty sure they don't think people who kill themselves go to heaven, yeah. Carolyn, you're a how do you pronounce that? Carlin Boroshenko, whatever her name is. Anyway, yeah, she's a weirdo. She's like something else. I don't even know how to describe Carlin Boroshenko other than lunatic. But anyway. That's all I got for you for tonight. I legitimately don't have anything else going on in my head. I'm gonna be annoying again. Oh, maybe not. Let's see, who can we harass for tonight? We could do, maybe, do I like frogs? Only the ones that have been transed by the estradiol in the water. Only those frogs. Let's go to, who can we harass tonight? I think the reason they no longer defend themselves from being called fascists, they have to go, actually fascists aren't bad, yeah. Second go, hang on. What are we talking about? Hitler committed suicide? Yeah, the people who kill themselves don't go to heaven. I think it's lame ass attempt to weaponize their perceived persecution. They think the left calls them everything they don't like Hitler, so they're trying to hit back. Yeah, true. Namarov is playing Disco Elysium. I'm going to just send you to Namarov because I don't see myself. I was going to raid Plods, but we did just raid Plodsky last week. So I don't want to go and hit the same raid twice. Like, I'm pretty sure Plodsky was my raid at the very end of Thursday stream, which was my last stream of last week. Anyway, I did take Friday off. Anyway, thank you all for hanging out tonight. It's been lovely. We are going to go and watch Namarov playing some Disco Elysium. It's one of those games where I'm like, I'm interested, I'm intrigued, but I don't think I'm actually going to play it. So, might as well watch someone else do it. I don't care about spoilers. If you care about spoilers, that's a you problem, sweets. That's not on me. Deal. I will be back tomorrow night and for the rest of the week. So, there you go, fall on. I didn't kiss my lip properly there, but, you know, whatevs. Yeah, 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. I think we're in Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Fucking Daylight Savings kicks my ass. I hate it. And we can react to that Karlin Boroshenko PragerU video, honestly. I want to do that. I want to do more React things. And reacting to PragerU and their dumb bullshit sounds highly amusing to me. So we're going to do that. At the very least. And probably whatever. Yeah, React Abby. Why not? Anyway, as always, be kind to yourselves and each other. I love your faces. And I'll see you when I'm looking at you.